3, 2, 1. That should be good enough audio cue for the recording. And now, what's up, everybody? Podcast Choppers 3 here, and we got the usual cast and everything. We got DOWN6, we got Murrk, we got Split, also known as Split Second.
Oh my god, it's Split Second.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's pretty sick. I'm glad that you liked the show and like thought you would want to be on this. How have you found like the show so far? I assume you've watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, I saw the last 2 episodes.
Sick.
I watched.
You watched it? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I watched the past 2 and I was like, I cringe at myself on how I act so constantly.
All right, then let's start off quick. Like, I think I watched an interview that you did a while ago with Sunblazed, I think it was, and you mentioned something about like how you started with like J-bomb and genocide. Can you go over that? Like, you're starting your rap.
Holy bro.
Okay, so
you began that shit.
So, if we're going back as early as humanly possible, we're talking
out the womb.
Maybe no, not out the womb. Maybe I'm like 4 or 5 years old, and I'm riding with my parents to go somewhere, like maybe store or what have you, right? So, my dad is from Queens, New York. My mom is from Brooklyn. And so they had moved down to Florida to have me when they did. And so, they have their own playlists of music. We're driving, they're playing music. And at some point, my dad plays the remix to My Name Is by Eminem. And the remix that he was playing was the Weird Al Yankovic version called My Name Is Darth Vader.
Yeah.
It's the latest.
For whatever reason, and if you listen to Weird Al Yankovic's music, like back in the day, he's relatively musical. But for some reason, this song was just him overlaying lines from Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 that Darth Vader had said in like verse form. It was really funny. And so that's all it was. At the time, I was a very big Star Wars fan, thanks to my dad. And I thought that was like the greatest thing ever. This is just lines of Darth Vader from these movies over the instrumental from Eminem's My Name Is. And that was my introduction to hip hop. Yeah. If I had to tell you exactly when I knew hip hop was a thing, that was it. And cool. if you fast forward maybe like 10 or 11 years after that, at that point I was in Saudi Arabia, which is where I had lived most of my life. And I knew a bunch of African Americans, like aside from me, that lived there, because there's this weird phenomenon among the community of people who live there who were African American, where we all knew each other, just for whatever reason. Either we knew them personally or we knew a relative of theirs, right? And so the 3 of us are hanging out. I'll just call them by their names at the time, which were Corey and Curtis, right? They're both from Atlanta. And we like listening to rap music at that point, right? At that point, there's some things I'm skipping, but at that point, we like listening to rap music. And so
he was in tune with what was happening.
Just one of these days, we figured, hey, we have a laptop. Hey, this laptop has a program called Windows Voice Recorder. And we have gaming headsets. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so where are we going with this? It's like, oh, we're going to say stuff and we're going to put them on top of music. It's like, oh, okay. And how you figure we do that? Well, there's this other program called Audacity.
True. That, I know that.
That made layering audio. Yeah, it made layering audio kind of easy. So, and that's when it happened. That was the first time I ever recorded something. And at the time, I needed a name. It also just so happens that when I was in school, we were playing football. And I do mean American football. I mean regular American football here. I do not mean soccer. And so our coach was African American. Go figure. None of the other kids in my class or my school, for example, were African American though. And so to kind of introduce our culture to the situation, our PE coach sought to give everybody a nickname, just a nickname. There were a bunch of nicknames that ranged from really cool and really fitting to downright insulting and funny, right? But for whatever reason, the nickname that he gave me, being that my first name is Jabril, was J-Bomb.
J-Bomb.
So I said, okay. I said, okay, well, I'm already kind of sort of known throughout the school. Like, people will call me that because he called me that. So I just ran with it. And that was the first hip-hop name that I ever had and kind of held for a second. After that, I kind of realized that it would be a very bad idea to name myself J-Bomb, given that I am Muslim and I spent most of my life in the Middle East. That could pose a couple of problems with regards to branding in the United States.
Right.
Obviously, it wasn't that complex at the time. I was like 13 when I made this decision, so whatever. I said, okay, I got to change my name. But I wanted it to hold the same kind of devastating effect that the name Bomb would have. And so then that's when I came up with genocide, spelled Genosyd.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Do you think we're able to find music from back then? Or is it
you will find nothing with J-Bomb. You will find nothing with J-Bomb. That will never happen. But that's okay because none of the music was original. At the time, we were just freestyling. And by freestyling, I mean we would write something with no particular
You're just finding yourself.
Right. We would freestyle over like instrumentals for songs. So like Party Up by DMX, Touch It by Busta Rhymes.
Oh yeah.
Bring Them Out with Swizz Beatz and T.I. and DJ Khaled instrumental here and there. Stuff like that. And that was it for J-Bomb. We started actually making music, like original music, when I changed my name to Genocide. So you might find 1 or 2 songs under that name.
Ooh. Everyone in the comments, go find them.
Exactly. It is there.
Content.
Yeah, it is there because I did not delete it, because why would I do that?
It's good to have that stuff, to be fair, to see where you come from. Exactly.
I agree. I do agree with that. But so that's how the whole names thing went. My name was Genocide for the foreseeable future after that, even though I like dibbled and dabbled with like the idea of another name, but then I kept that one. Until the summer of 2011. So I am like 15 or something at this point. And my parents got me a ticket to the All Sixes and Sevens tour.
Yeah, let's go.
Showing in Pensacola.
That's where that photo happened, isn't it?
And that's where that photo happened. Of when I went to see Tech.
That's cool, bro. For
whatever reason, I was compelled, because up until that point, I didn't rap fast in particular. I was just rapping, really. That's all I was doing. 1, 2, buckle my shoe type things for a very long time. And so getting to go see Tech 9, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but the prospect of getting to meet him in person, right?
Yeah.
It triggered something. And I said, I'm gonna write a verse, but I'm gonna write it so that it's fast. Up to this point, I had been listening to people like Tech and Eminem and Yellow Wolf and D-Lock, Dilemma, all of that whole scene, right? For a couple of years. So I understood how rapping fast went, but I never applied it in my music, right? I never did it.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a verse, and with the intention of it being fast. Right? I'm telling you, it happened in like 3 hours. I was standing there in the middle of my room for like 3 hours doing this, like writing these lyrics on my phone, right?
Ignite a new flame in you.
And it did. And you know what? That verse is not lost media.
Wow.
Ooh.
That verse is on YouTube now. I don't know if you guys know about this, right? I don't know if you guys know about this, but I did a mixtape with the Sith Lords called Death Star: The Arrival. Right?
Okay, I'm not sure about that title. Yeah.
Well, so there was Death Star: The Arrival, and then there was what's the second one called? It's probably one you guys know.
From 2014, is it? The Return or something like that?
The Return. There you go. That is just called The Return. Right. That's true. Okay. So on that, we had a remix to the song "Forever" by Drake, Lil Wayne, Eminem, and Kanye West. That was not the first time. That was not the first time I rapped over that beat, because ultimately there was a prior remix to "Forever" that I did with the Desert Street Kings, which was a different group prior. And that "Forever" remix has the verse that I'm talking about. And it's there. It is there on YouTube. I could probably pull it up if I wanted to.
I'm gonna grab my jacket.
Channel. It's not on my channel, but it's there. So,
do you think it still holds up today, or is it really just not great or anything? Like shaking a break in lyrics?
The Desert Chopper, I'll be putting everybody up in the death trap like a maniac when I watch a nigga next. That minute nearly doing because he failed to respect. It's like, it's okay. It's okay, honestly. In terms of speed, I feel like it's there. But in terms of applying what I'm, I guess, known for doing musically, I would say no. I would say absolutely not.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. I feel like it was pretty good. But that's just me, though. I feel like it was pretty good. Because I thought to myself, I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to write this verse out, and I'm going to go see Tech at his performance or something, and I'm going to say it for him, and then yada, yada, yada. You know, you think a bunch of things are going to happen, right? And that was the game plan until I got on the plane. Because I was in Saudi at the time. And I was flying back over here for summer vacation to go see that. When I got on the plane, I realized that I would go to a Tech 9 concert as a technician, as a Tech 9 fan. You know, because I was, and I still am. I have you probably can't see it, but it's just, let me just go grab it. So this is the Killer album.
Oh
shit, boy. That's crazy.
Killer album CD.
That's pristine.
Cover
shiny.
Signed by Tech 9.
That's hard.
So it's to say I was a fan back then would be an understatement, right? Because now, you know, your heroes are human. But I figured, okay, I will go as a fan, because I feel like that was more important than me trying to fulfill whatever kind of fantasy I thought I had going on. You know, and it's not that I don't think I could have done something with that, but that's not why you go to a performance. You know, you go to a performance to show up for the artist that you're going for.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what I did. And it was great. We had the meet and greet like tickets or whatever, so I got to meet him. You know, and that's where you get that picture, the picture of me and Tech, and the pictures of me and Crazy Calico.
I haven't seen that
one. Spider K.
Yeah, Spider K.
I saw the Tech
That's
one.
That guy.
Yeah. Crazy is really that guy.
Wait, Murrk, what was the guy? Who? What was his name?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I saw Cut too, because Cut was there.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
On the previous podcast, I brought up Cut Calhoun to these guys, and neither of these guys had ever heard who he was ever.
Cut Calhoun, dude. He is so tall. He is so tall.
Damn.
He is so crazy tall. So it's funny about Tech, because as you see in the picture, Tech 9 is very short, but like I'm also very short. So it's not like I'm throwing like stones or anything. But Cut Calhoun is at least like 6'7".
Just 6'7".
I don't believe it, but what can you do?
He can't be
That's
that
my
tall,
dad.
surely, bro.
My dad is exactly 6'7".
Okay, yeah.
So when I meet him, I know what to expect. Just expect my dad.
He is so tall. But yeah, no, they're all very humble, very cool people in person.
Nice.
Brother Lynch he performed that day.
That's spooky.
Right?
Spooky,
he didn't,
man.
He didn't go to the he didn't go to the actual meet and greet. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you know, that was cool. So that's kind of where I got a lot of my start.
That's cool, man.
And it was funny because I used to not tell my parents that I was making hip hop, right?
Why is that?
I don't know. I didn't have a particular reason. It's just I didn't, right? But
I get that. I wouldn't have done that either.
Right.
Yeah. I've been through that before for like 2 years at one time.
Right. And so I didn't feel to tell my parents until one time. So my dad had an old Macintosh computer, and so he gave it to me. And the thing about the old Macintosh computers is that you used to have to store your music on a computer to then put it onto like an iPhone or an iPod or whatever. Right? So those files are stored, right? And so I was kind of learning like how to use computers in general, understanding how like computer directories work. And so I was just clicking through folders and folders and folders and folders on this old PC, right? Well, an old Macintosh. And I came across the iTunes files. And so therein I saw 50 Cent, Wu-Tang Clan, Rakim and Eric B. and Rakim, Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, and the whole 9 yards, Sugar Hill Gang, and you know everybody, right? Tupac, Biggie, Eminem, Nate Dogg, the whole 9 yards.
Nate Dogg, King of Chorus.
Right. And I was like, oh. Okay. And so then I guess I felt like I could just tell my parents, but they were just like, I don't care. My dad was like, I don't care. I did it. I was like, oh, you did it. I was like, oh, you did. And so then he tells me all the stories and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty sick. There's like
got to drop a track with him.
True, that
you know,
Night Lavelle's dad did that. Night Lavelle did that. Those shows.
I kind of want to do that, you know, because
to be real.
I think I should. Actually, you know what's crazy? If you go on my YouTube channel, way back in the videos, there's a video of me and my dad at Vans Warped Tour. No, my dad doesn't listen to Vans Warped Tour bands, but we were going because my younger sister, she had like a phase where she listened to like of Mice and Men and Escape the Fate and it's like Sleeping with Sirens and all of that, right? And so anytime she would want to go to Vans Warped Tour to see Of Mice and Men and Black Veiled Brides and all of that, right? I'd have to go with her. And so that one year, my dad went with us. And there was like a hip hop stage or something like that. And they started doing like freestyles. And that freestyle where I did that same verse we were talking about before, actually. That's actually the same verse, just like 1.5 times the speed, which was very hard. But anyways, so I did my thing. And then my dad starts rapping right after me, actually.
Yeah, let's go.
This was the first time that I had ever seen him do it in person. And he was rapping. It was like the 1960s, 1970s style of rap. But he was rapping.
You sensed it. You saw as a rapper.
Yeah.
Rapper.
He did it. He was doing it. And the video is really sweet. You know, I watch it sometimes because, you know,
I get to check that out.
I gave him he gave me a hug and everything. Like it was a very formative moment in my life. It kind of made me say, all right, you know what? Maybe I am built like that for this whole rap thing, you know? And when I say this whole, it's not like it pays my bills, but you know,
yeah,
just doing
you definitely
it.
Are though. You make some great stuff, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm not saying I've made no money. I have made good money, but I wouldn't say. Let's just say I haven't quit my day job. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So all this happened when you were still genocide, right? Can you explain the split second, rather?
Well, the thing with my dad, my name was Split Second at that point.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so when I wrote that verse, we'll just call it that verse for now. When I wrote that verse, I said, "Oh, I need a new name, something that indicates how fast I am, and so that's what happened. Because I made it in such a hasty decision. I had made it as such a hasty decision. I then retroactively applied the backronym that you guys know it for, which is speed, precision, and lyricism yarned together.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now I know, I guess. I'm a fake fan, clearly.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So that's how that happened. Now, when you said split, were you talking about that split, or were you talking about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I saw one of the questions. I asked a bunch of people like on YouTube and things. They were like, "What was up with the name change?" I can't remember who said it exactly, but what happened from split second to split with a X?
Some people see it as splat. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, the acronym doesn't really.
My girlfriend
work
calls
with
you
it.
splat.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen.
Yeah. No, those are just friends of mine that I know personally, and they're just like, "Oh, so your name is Splat," and I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh, so your name is Splat?" I'm like, "No." They're like, well, nobody's gonna believe you. I'm like, "What do you mean by that?"
Yeah, could be anything.
And then that's when you get the comment where my friends are like going in there and they're like bombing my comment, Splat. I'm just like, dude.
I guess I thought about that. It's like nobody would like if they didn't know you before, they wouldn't expect that it would be a Y there, right?
Exactly.
Instead of the X.
Right. So and I guess this goes in with the explanation to what you're asking, right? So why did I change my name? So for a very long time under split second, how long I had that name, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it yet, but I was being pigeonholed into a very specific type of music. And eventually, as you know, you get a little bit more and more disenfranchised with the whole chopper movement, which everybody ultimately, I feel like, will kind of do.
Sounds reasonable, yeah.
You know, I would start to explore musically, right? And it wasn't always received as well as I wanted it to be. Partially because it obviously wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but also because my fans had come to expect a certain type of music from me.
Yep.
You know, they wanted more world record attempts, and then not that I ever did that, but they wanted more like speed attempts,
True 16 was like SPS bait, I feel like.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You said 316? What do you mean?
True 16.
Oh, True 16. No.
SPS bait.
No, actually, no. I had written that verse for an entirely different beat.
Oh, wow.
But the BPM
just found the contest, and you were like, "I like that. I'll put that verse on there."
Yeah, right. But the problem was the BPM when I wrote it was not that fast.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why it's so crazy. I get you.
I had to like shoehorn it in there, you know, as we do sometimes.
It happens.
It happens, you know. So that's how you get that. And then the fact that people started picking that up as, oh, this is his fastest, and I'm just like, I don't know if that was the point.
Yeah. You
I didn't. Speaking of True 16, though, that did get put on a CDTVProductions video, which is a pretty popular YouTuber, and for what it's worth, it was I think you were #1 and things like that. Did you see Did you just think? What do you think about that? Did you sigh in frustration about how that was all you were going to get known at?
You know, I wasn't frustrated because of how intriguing that whole situation was. I didn't know about CDTV prior to that. Or actually, you know, yes, I did. I did. But I had watched something many, many years prior, and he was just kind of out of my mind up until that point. And then I was informed about the thing, and I was kind of just watching the video. And I was like, oh, okay. And I start to realize more and more that it was like top 10 fastest rappers that he has ever heard of. And by the time he got to number 3, I was like just watching it as a viewer. I was just like, oh, okay, it's an interesting video. I wasn't really thinking of myself in any kind of context. And so then he goes, just kind of casually, and then he goes, and number 1 is Split Second. And I'm like, oh, I think I know.
That must have been insane. You only had like 2,000 subscribers.
I was like,
jump scared with your own face. You're like, what?
Yeah, jump scared me, and I was like, "That's an interesting." Oh, okay.
Whoa.
And so he's like explaining it, and then I think he shows that, right, the True 16, or was it Underground Choppers 2?
I'm not sure if he played more than one song, but I know the True 16 was like in the video or something.
It was there.
Yeah, it was. He was using it as video footage. And so he was explaining, like, he mentioned a line about how if it were any faster than that, it would be kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous to consume, to listen to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when I realized, like, I feel like I'm at a good spot when it comes to speed rapping, and I don't necessarily feel the need to get any faster.
Yeah. I would probably agree with that.
Right. And at this point, I'm already trying to focus on being more artistic, being more musically inclined, so to speak. So it's just like, okay. And so we do other stuff. So that's how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this transition into the rap music that you do now, sort of a metal influence and things like that. Like, what made you get into that style?
I figured that question would come up. And so when I talk about my origin stories, there's a really big gap, right? After hearing My Name Is, the Weird Al Yankovic version, I was never exposed to hip hop or rap, or at least, I had not been until many, many, many years later. Because I had a relatively unfavorable idea of hip hop, especially concerning, popular acts at the time. We got like Akon at the time. We're going to count him. We're going to count Akon. I like Akon, but if you're looking at rap to be kind of more constructive, that's not the music you want to listen to. When Lil Wayne first came out, I did not like him at all. So we have artists like them too. We have Birdman. I was looking for a more constructive idea, an idea that actually illustrates some kind of intellectual process behind it. And hip hop wasn't doing it for the longest time because I had yet to find all of that music on my dad's computer. Okay. So during all of this time, my music is actually, funnily enough, new metal, heavy metal. I went through a really long power metal phase, symphonic metal, and very, very early metalcore. So we're talking Killswitch Engage, All That Remains, Bullet, things like that, right?
You don't hear that one a lot. That's kind of crazy. New metal. I grew up on new metal and power metal too. Shit was good.
Right.
Dragon Force.
So back in the day, you had to be very selective with what music you had on a phone because there wasn't a lot of dedicated space for that. I had like 100 megabytes. Problem is, the average Dragon Force song is goddamn 8 minutes.
Yeah, every fucking Dragon Force song is like 10 minutes long. It's always 180 BPM every fucking time.
Right, and so those songs like took up way more space than your average Linkin Park song, your average, whatever, right?
Fun to listen to, not fun to get.
Exactly. So I had to like pick and choose. I like swap them out sometimes. Today, Operation Ground and Pound. Tomorrow, Heroes of the Storm. The next day, like so on and so forth, right? So I was listening to a lot of rock music. At my school at the time, I had a friend of mine named Mishad. We called him Mitchie because that's easier. So he played the guitar and he had like an amp. Anytime I would go to his house, if we weren't playing video games or just chilling, he would plug in his amp and he would shred it out. His older brother would come in and say, "Hey, what are you idiot kids doing?" And then he would sit down and plug his own guitar in and then shred twice as hard as his younger brother would. But that was so fascinating to me at the time, especially with all the music I was listening to. And he actually got me introduced to, the heavier kind of sides of music. He was like super into like death metal. So we're talking death metal, right? But like he had a couple of death metal bands in there, but it was more just Cannibal Corpse, Suicide Silence, Sepultura.
Cannibal Corpse is very niche. People should get into that one more. It's hard for people to get into. It's just violent immediately.
It is very difficult to get into. And I can say I never did, but that was his band. He was on that, right? And so by knowing stuff that he listens to, I come across more, abrasive music in general. And so that was always something that I had in my musical background. I wasn't about to play the drums or the guitar or anything like that. But I really early on had the idea of rap metal. But the earliest versions at the time would have been Biohazard by Onyx and Walk This Way by Run DMC and Aerosmith.
I feel so young. I don't recognize those ones.
Sorry. Then, you come across Limp Bizkit. And I know this is going to be a controversial take, but I feel like some of the Limp Bizkit songs are really good.
Limp Bizkit's really good.
You're not going to beat, what is it? Air raid assault vehicle? Roland. Right? You're not going to beat that.
Roland.
Full Nelson. Right? As cringy as it is now, Break Stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's not bad either.
These are blood pumping songs, right? These are blood pumping songs that mix the kind of attitude of hip hop with, at the time, new metal. Then of course you branch off, you get in the system, you get into Deftones, you get into Korn, Slipknot, you get into all of that eventually. And so that once again that was carrying. It was always always in there churning. One day when I was in Saudi, I decided, hey, what if this was a thing? And I typed in my YouTube search bar, as many people do now. Okay, mind you, I got back to the States officially in 2016, so this is probably taking place about 2014, 2015. Okay, I type in the YouTube search bar, trap metal.
Oh no.
Okay, and something comes up. I found a producer named Silent Side, and I reach out to him. And this is where I come into contact with the people that you guys know as Boba Flex.
Yeah, the producer. I've seen these tracks.
Oh, yes. So Boba Flex is just Silent Side. He wanted to start producing for me because up until this point we're just friends, right? We like hang out on Discord, we play video games, blah blah blah. And we're kind of hanging out. We're like juggling the idea of, hey, we should start a rap metal band, right? And nothing really happens until what year did this take place? 2016 or 17, when Chester Bennington from Linkin Park passes away. Now we both knew that the other had grown up very heavily on Linkin Park, right? And I was at Disney at the time, actually. I was about to get on a ride. I was in line, about to get on a ride. And my wife at the time, she pulls out her phone and she goes, Jabril, you might want to look at this. I'm like, oh, what's up? And she shows me an article, Chester Bennington found, dead. And safe to say, that was probably the roughest rest of the day I've ever had at Disney.
Yeah, terrible ride.
Man.
Yeah, that really sucks. Chester Bennington and just Linkin Park period was, for all intents and purposes, right next to Breaking Benjamin. So two bands, right? But Chester specifically was the soundtrack to the emotional development of my life. We're talking breakups, we're talking school, we're talking like having to leave different places and having to no longer see people again. Those two bands were the soundtrack for like the more emotional moments of my life. And so, a death like that, a passing like that is really, it hurts to hear. So that evening I message Silent Side and I go, so did you hear? He goes, yeah. And he said, we should probably do this rock metal band rap thing. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And so he sent me an instrumental that he had made, and we were off to the races. Silent Side did become Boba Flex, who is my like sole producer at the moment. And he's also the bass guitarist and producer for my Madlander projects.
Yeah.
Remember that Cannibal Corpse guy I was talking about, Mitchie?
Yeah.
So he went on to be the guitarist for a, let me see if I can get this right, a progressive technical deathcore band in Canada.
Underground
He's
as fuck.
also he's also the harsh vocalist on my Madlander projects. So everything kind of just came full circle.
Is more of that coming out, by the way? Madland?
Yeah. The first project is still being released, right? So like in about a week or so, I'm gonna put out the next single from that. After that, those releases, we're gonna have Madlander as like a kind of sparse project, like a more scarce project, and I'm gonna go back to kind of prioritizing those split releases produced by Silent Side. So, I feel like that's where most of the juice is. Most of the juice is. So, so that's what we're gonna keep doing. But and I realize I keep kind of bringing all of these in tangentially to like then ultimately answer the question that you're asking. Why did I change my name to Split? What was the reason? After being pigeonholed into, the whole chopper community, not that I have a problem with the chopper community, but being pigeonholed into it was really stifling to a lot of my creativity. And so I made the decision to really have a turn with how my music sounded, and I knew it was going to be more abrasive. So I said, okay, maybe Split Second might not be a good name for that anyways.
Yeah.
Not to mention, there is only one person in existence, one single person in existence that has ever called me Split Second while talking to me.
Hi, Split Second.
Like that, right? You guys might know him as Young Nerdy. He was on a lot of my earlier music. I made the Islamic religious pilgrimage to the city of Mecca with him and his dad. This is my brother for all intents and purposes, right? But to this day, and I called him 2 days ago, and he did it again. He is the only person that calls me Split Second while talking to me.
Why? Just to piss you off?
Because he knows it bothers me. He knows it bothers me. But everybody else, right? And so everybody else calls me Split. I go to a, recording booth or whatever. I do a session. It's Splits. Everybody's calling me Split. Split. Boom. 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 I said, okay, well, you know what? Let's just take that and make it edgy. So I said, okay. The backronym does still work because instead of yarned, it is crossed.
Exactly. I was confused by that for a moment.
Okay.
And I feel like that makes more sense now because whereas before it was yarned together, it being crossed means there's an intersectionality to all of them coming to a certain point, as opposed to it being yarned together, meaning it's being used with each other versus it just happening at the same time. And so that's how I explain it. It sounds like copium, but that's what we're doing.
I think it's cooler than having like all the rappers that just have an X in their name that is just there for no reason. It's cool that there's a reason.
Yeah.
But well, see, that reason that you're talking about was the reason. Ultimately. Because I got like really into actually like trap metal. So like Scarlord, City Moore, all of that. And I said to myself, right. And I said to myself, now what if these guys were lyrical?
What would these guys said some shit?
It's not very common to see. It's not very common to see the I like being crossed out. It's normally an O or maybe an A every now and then. So that's why most people mistake you for like splat or splot.
Yeah, no, I'm aware.
Kill Switch is X's.
Yeah, Kill Switch. Yeah, Kill Switch is just X's. I had a song with Valentine, and I didn't even know that his name was Valentine until I asked him what his name was because that's how many X's there were in the name. I was like, wait, so what did what does that say? He goes, Valentine. I'm like, oh my god, I would have never guessed that. How many X's are in the thing? But
I've
that's
collabed with
how.
at least 3 people where I don't know how to pronounce the name.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It just happens. Sometimes it's
It
like
just-
the X's or the zeros, or it's like they're just from another country. Like you just don't
Yeah.
know.
So on the topic of underground shoppers, we kind of skipped over that and stuff like that. The shopping scene that you became involved in after listening to Tech Nine and appreciating the fast rap qualities. This is where like we came to know you from. I think I found out about you in 2014 from Underground Shoppers 1 or 2. And
Yeah.
can you explain, the chopping thing, how you got into the scene, and what led to Underground Shoppers 1? Because it's quite a loose track. It doesn't make sense in hindsight.
So my involvement with Underground Choppers 1 was very mild and almost inconsequential compared to like other entries, right? So I came across Underground Choppers because, when you learn about something, which as I did with fast rap, you kind of look into it, you see what it's got going on. And so I got on YouTube and I looked, at this point I already knew about Midwest Choppers and I think the first worldwide choppers had already come out at this point. Pretty sure it did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
Like 2011.
so yeah. So, you wonder if that's a thing elsewhere. So I searched for it. I came across intercontinental choppers. Or was it
I don't
called
think I've heard
international?
that.
It's
Or was it
very
international
coincidental.
choppers?
Oh yeah, International
Like-
Shoppers. That's the one with interesting enough, Def Ill was on it. Ruffian Rugged.
Yeah, it
That's,
was probably international
really?
because intercontinental didn't exist then.
no.
Wait,
Maybe it existed.
Wait, you're right. That is him.
100%. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wait, that's
It's
him?
crazy how things loop around. He
Oh
wasn't
my
in the song in
God.
2011.
Oh, man.
I didn't
He
even
Or
is
know
on
2012.
that.
that song.
I didn't even know that, dude. That's crazy as
Oh
fuck.
my god.
Now I gotta look back at some point after this.
No, I know
Yeah.
exactly who that is. I know, like, I'm playing it in my head.
Wow.
And that's him.
Damn.
Wow.
Oh my
He's been at it
God.
for a while, dude.
Mocker
He,
man.
he posted performances of him in 2002. Like, I wasn't even alive yet.
Oh, yeah, that is him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Because I was wondering, Intercontinental Choppers was something that started by Troll, but International, yeah, that's the one I remember for Def Ill.
Yeah.
That's how I found Def Ill, and it led to me putting him on lists, and then led to him getting into the SPS scene, and then it spiraled from there, and now like everyone knows him and respects him. It's fucking sick.
He's so cool. I
Wow,
fucking
that's
love the
cool.
shit he does. He's so good
That's
at
so
engineering and
cool.
shit. I wish I
That-
could meet with him in a studio and just make an album with him so bad.
Same.
So bad.
His energy seems so
Right? And I would
It
love to
seems-
perform.
much respect to Rugged Ruffian. He's one of a kind. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I want to get more into him, like talk more, like because he talks a lot about you respectfully. Like he says that you're one of the first people who recognized like him for his skill in the community, and like I assume it was like around
That's
the
real.
UC10 challenge and things like that.
Yeah,
But,
people are like,
I
not,
think
we're doing that accusatory shit.
So yeah, that was the first time that I had heard of him under that name. Or did he do it as? He didn't do it as Def Ill. He did it as Ruffian Rugged.
Yeah, I think
He
so.
made a remix with said /Def Ill.
As Def Ill, but I didn't put two and two together. But that's not the point. So, for all intents and purposes, this is the first time I had ever come across him. I feel like over the years, I've gotten really good at sensing potential, either A, latent, or B, realized potential when it comes to people rapping fast two, right? Because I have a very, very complex understanding of what goes into constructing verses, writing verses, separate from, delivering them, performing them as a rapper. And so I had become very impressed with the SPS community because so many of them heard stuff that I had done 5 or 6 years prior and were like, oh my God, this is so cool and I want to do it. And that is so cool. I think that's so cool, right? Not because, oh yeah, I made you do it. No. That's not the point. The part where, for me at the time, I was just so let's say Underground Choppers 1, I'm at my friend's house and I'm on the mic at their house, right? Sleepover thing, right? Recording at like 1 a.m, right? something that I just did because I thought it would be cool. You know, many years later, they're like, oh, people are saying, hey, you know, you got me into rapping like this, or oh, hey, you're my favorite rapper from this thing, and you know, all of that. I had no idea that it could positively affect people because I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say something cringe like, oh yeah, I'm saving people's lives with hip hop. No, right? But I realized that hip hop and just kind of rapping in
1-800.
general, it's a pretty nifty pastime. And it detracts from time that you would have otherwise spent maybe doing something a little more harmful, a little more, you know, dangerous. Because it gives you a rush. It does. And I'm glad that that could be seen as a positive thing. That could be a positive thing. I like that it inspires people to explore their creativity and try to push what they can do musically, lyrically, syllabically, whatever you want, right? And that's pretty cool. I'm glad that that could have come of something that I just thought, hey, this would be pretty cool. But so with regards to Rugged Ruffian, I heard years of refinement in what he did. And not just like, and not to detract from anything, but there's like a difference. You can hear a difference from, you know, between, hey, this is fast rapping, I'm going to try this, to I am rapping and I just so happen to also rap fast.
Yeah.
And
there's a big difference for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear the latter from Rugged Ruffian, even though he does it way more often than someone else, for example. And so I said, all right, well, if we're talking underground choppers, that's what you want. You know, and it's not to say people couldn't start rapping fast just kind of because they heard of it and, you know, now they're doing it. I'm not saying that that doesn't have any credence to it. You know, we have people like, and I might be assuming here, right? But we have people like KBR. We have people like Interchopper, where it seems like the idea is, oh, okay, you know, fast rap community. Okay, boom, I'm trying it out. Boom, I'm learning how to do it. Boom, I'm practicing, getting better. Boom, okay, now I'm here. Underground choppers, what's up? It's like, okay, cool. It's like, okay, cool. That works too. But it had been a while since I heard something like Rugged Ruffian, and so he kind of took the cake. I was this close. I still feel bad about it to this day. I do, right? And you could put this on record. I do feel bad about having to skip over Coutz.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That guy was crazy, bro. Yeah.
Okay, you might be misremembering because Coutz was in UC8. I don't think he entered UC10.
Did he not?
In UC10, it was between Ruffian, fenksta was second place or something like that. Third, I mean, there was Duminoid who entered.
Okay.
I don't think there was a third or anything. But Duminoid entered. I can't remember anyone else who entered.
I'm telling you, Coutz did something.
Yeah, he did something in UC8. It was him versus mcdread.
And Sketty.
Oh, so you felt bad over mcdread and Coutz.
Okay, so Coutz was with mcdread then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a more comparable, like, because like Ruffian's like instant yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So okay.
Credits to Coutz though.
Coutz and mcdread. Coutz, man, you lost by this much.
Did you have the final say?
Was it
no, but I was part of the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I was part of the tiebreaker, and I had to, and it was gonna be Coutz or mcdread. Yeah.
And what made you go for mcdread? What was the slight thing that made him better?
He had more and I'm gonna use the word and I'm gonna explain it. He had more pizzazz with his delivery. The thing about Coutz at the time, and I feel like this was pretty early on in, you know, Coutz's musical journey.
Definitely.
You know, Coutz had perfected the triple time and quad time, right? Well, actually, he doesn't really do quad time. Okay, he had perfected it, right? It was super smooth. But I feel like that was going to give us another verse, right? And perhaps I, you know, jumped the gun on it maybe, but I felt like mcdread was going to deliver a more memorable verse because there was more inflection, there was more vocal control, there was more attitude in what he was saying. And that's half of rap music. Half of rap from the vocal perspective is the delivery, not just how skillful it is, right? Because you could just as easily do something at 16, 17 or whatever syllables just monotonously. And that's what I was getting from Coutts at the time. I do still kind of I do still kind of keep up with Coutts' music, and I know he's gotten a lot better at it. But at the time, it wasn't. Yeah, he has. But at the time, it wasn't. He was not yet ready, and mcdread was. I feel like their speeds were comparable. So for the purpose of SPSing, I feel like it wouldn't have made that much of a difference because they're both extremely quick, extremely talented at fast rapping. But mcdread just had the edge because his clothes were flashier.
I think mcdread was the right decision, to be completely honest.
He did great, to be honest, with the music video and everything. Although, can you elaborate? Okay, I know we wanted to talk about UC in like order or something, but can you explain why some of the verses were so long in UC8? mcdread had 16 bars when like people like Fluency had 8. What was the logic behind that?
No.
So to be frank, right? Here's how it would go, right? Here's how it would go. Sprite would make the beat. Then this is after 1. So with 1, I guess Sprite was just reaching out to people, or people reached out to him. I reached out to Sprite for UC1, right? And after that, we kind of sort of clicked up. Everybody kind of in the UC kind of sphere, right? So let's just put this over here. We got SPS, right? Over here we have UC, right? Sprite kept in contact with them individually and would like reach out to them for each UC for the most part, right? And he would also kind of scour for anybody that was new that might have been a good idea, or he'd reach out to someone who he previously probably couldn't get in on it, right? So we're talking people like Ghost and VBL, for example.
Yep.
And so that's so what he would do is he would send the beat out to everybody individually, and they'd record, and then they'd send him something back. Some of us would go over the bar count.
Some of us.
And that's it. It's really that simple. Some of them just simply wrote longer verses and sent them over.
Sinizter did 8.
And we kept them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For UC
8.
8, this would be 8. Yep.
2 8s.
Okay. I think it was the only example of that ever happening. Like DNA made a video. I don't think I watched it fully, but he was complaining about the verse length. He wasn't happy with 8 bars, so he did 24, I believe it was, maybe even longer than that.
DNA did that all the time. DNA did that all the time.
Well, he did that on UC5 as well, right? UC5 verse is very long as well.
Yeah. I got him on a song, and I got him a 16, and he was like, "This is not long enough." And he sent me a voice note in a bathtub. Funny enough, you could hear the reverberation. And he said he was in a bathtub. He told me. He made sure to tell me, and was like, "Yeah, man, I think you're trying to cut me off, and I get it, but I think you're trying to cut me off. I got more shit to say." I said, "Okay, I got you. I'll just send a fucking 32. Fuck it." And I had to cut out a racist bar.
Damn.
Typical DNA shit.
DNA. Oh, damn, bro.
The extension.
Can you elaborate? So we're not just. Can you elaborate what you said, just so we not like no context?
Something about I'm gonna leave this rap game something without the dark skin, and I had to cut it, and I had to cut it to be like without the dot, and then it goes into the next bar.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my god, I know he wasn't trying to be racist. I know he's not an actually racist dude, but that was just a racist line. So I just could not keep that. That was a $15 feature.
Hey.
I got a $15 feature.
$15 for the true lyricist.
What's the cheapest you've been paid to feature split?
Free.
Well, like without free. Without free though.
Free,
excluding 99? That. Like, have you ever charged?
50 cents.
Yeah, I've charged. Yeah, I charged. You said the cheapest?
Yeah. Like, what's the lowest? Have you ever just been like, yeah, man, just sign me like $20 for a verse?
It might have been like 10. It might have been like 10.
I've done it for 10, 20, 30, once for 50, just one time. I paid 200 to do a verse one time. Crucified.
That's the one with that's the track with the funny little speed burst.
Visions.
It goes, like that, right?
Oh man.
It's a thing. It happens sometimes. It happens.
I wish he didn't put that in the song. The song was all right without it.
Back to the topic though. Let's go through these like UCs, the UC tracks. So back on UC one. You expect like you talked about how you like reached out to Sprite, but like, do you know what else was really happening with the song? Like anything to do with that?
We're talking about 1 or
Yes.
8?
UC
Oh,
1.
Oh, 1, I knew absolutely nothing. This was my
Okay.
introduction to the SPS community.
Okay, and well, I wouldn't say the
lovely
SPS community kind of
community.
existed back then, but yeah, that was like the foundation for it. And then, what did you think about the track when it came out? Were you like pleased with it? It kind of like gets a bit awkward near the end for those Lady Murder verses. And
Oh,
Shout out AOK.
I mean, oh man, are you kidding? So for me, it was just I wanted to make sure I did my part, and I did it well. Right, I wanted to make sure that
You did.
the mix was like okay, like I thought it was fine. I was like, okay, this works, I guess. And everything was kind of just fine. I really thought it would just be a one and done thing. You know, it's not like I listened to it a bunch of times, but I definitely revisited my verse in it because that's what I do occasionally. I'll go back to an old verse and I'll see what I could have done better, you know, how I could have improved on certain things. And so, yeah, I would run it back a bunch of times, and then it was a nice smorgasbord of a bunch of different artists, a bunch of different choppers, and D-Boy.
okay,
And
Wow.
Who I could look at and kind of dissect what their styles were composing of,
Yeah.
and try to maybe add some of it to my own repertoire. For some
Did
of them,
you-
I was able to do that. For some of them, I wasn't.
okay. So
Lady
you
Murder.
didn't have like a
Where's your Lady Murder influence in your music?
It's
Come
not,
on.
it's not a thing.
so you didn't get reference tracks or anything. You weren't like able to hear any of the verses beforehand, or
No,
was it you
no. Just
okay,
the beat.
okay.
Damn.
And I'm
I
just
hate when
wondering.
people do that.
It's been like 10 years, 11 years since the song. Like Vicodin back and back. Everybody knows that verse. They keep
true.
it. Do you still remember that?
Yeah, true.
What, do I still remember what?
Yeah, do you still remember the line and like the verse doing it, being able to do it?
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah, I
get a
can do
demonstration?
Do
Yeah, I
the
can do
twister
it.
thing.
Live
Yeah, I can do it.
performance.
Let me do it. I'm gonna pull up my lyrics.
Oh, man.
'Cause that's
Oh,
10
the
years.
lyrics,
Those are
man.
10-year-old.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Those are 10-year-old lyrics.
Yeah, my Discord username was Vicodin Pack because of that.
Yeah,
Vicodin.
I mean, it was decently like unique. You don't see. I mean, you might be the only guy who did Vicodin, like said the word Vicodin in a burst, because most of the time
True.
it's
Something
So
interesting
remember,
to say fast,
I
isn't
was
it?
just
Eminem did it
Remember-
second.
I remember I was just getting into it. This was like as big as it gets, like for me at the time. I'm like,
Mm.
all right, cool. I'm gonna just dial it in, man. Like, just get in there. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I like that there's like a little annotation. Oh, it's just the speed. I mean, okay. I mean,
annoying.
okay.
I wish people didn't do that. By the way, if anybody's watching this, you don't use Genius Foundations.
that.
I mean,
Yeah, don't do that.
It's just leave it.
No,
leave
no,
it.
you don't use it for SPS. Use it to describe the lyrics and explain them.
Oh,
That's
no.
about it.
Yeah, that's kind of.
If I wanted to know the SPS, I'd go ask NahDah.
True.
Let's see. We got back it, back it, back it, back it, like it, take it, fake it, break it, back it, making them all side with the feet. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Now scream it to the top of your lungs. No, you
I'm
don't got
more
it.
sick and psycho than Michael Jackson
Damn.
riding a bicycle.
Turn that
bicycle.
moment into a YouTube short right now.
Got you.
Got you.
Yeah,
Oh, we
I
need
don't- I
those
don't- I don't
anyways
do
for the
them.
podcast.
No, I don't like the shorts meta or anything like that.
Man.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cringe, but I mean, it's the meta. What
It'll
can you
get 3,000 views.
It will. It just the shit blows up. It's the algorithm, and you know, you never know when you
It'll
might
get
get
us
10,000
traction.
views, 100 views.
So easy to get.
Yeah, but
I'm
okay,
willing
but-
to sell out for traction.
Crazy.
But if you were like a random dude, you don't know anything about SPS, and you see this, all of us, and you see somebody go back, you won't think anything. You wouldn't be like, I'm going to check these guys out or nothing like that.
Maybe if I heard
Um,
the discussion
yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah, but that's not in a
Yeah.
short, is it?
Yeah, you're not getting that in the short.
It was 2
Not
seconds of
happening.
rapping. There's at least 13 seconds of conversation.
Back to the topic though. UC2,
Oh,
the
shit,
transition
I keep
into
forgetting.
UC2. How did that go? Did you reach out again, or were you reached out to?
So that time I was reached out to. I was in college at the time, so I was in Virginia. I was in Northern Virginia. Sprite reached out, and so I had to take a train from Northern Virginia to Maryland because that's where my recording booth was at the time. This is the same recording booth that I used to record Godspeed.
Goated track. Goated.
So I get on the train. It's like a 2.5 hour train ride. Well, bus and train ride. To Maryland. And I put down like $250 for a studio session because I was out here getting scammed. That's not the point. And that's when I did Underground Choppers 2. At the time, because I understood how much money it costed to get into the booth, I made sure I did all of my writing, all of my takes, all of my everything, like beforehand. So I go in there, I have the MP3.
Get that shit done.
I have the MP3 on my flash drive. I give it to the person. I say, look, we got 60 minutes. You got to mix and master this. They didn't, but that's not the point. You allegedly have to mix and master this. You know, let me get in there and drop my verse real quick, and then that's it. Underground Choppers 2 and Godspeed were both one takes.
Ooh,
What?
Wait, UC2
Why the-
one take?
UC2 is
bruh.
That's
one
impressive,
take.
man.
That's
Because
crazy.
I can't remember if you fucked up or anything. I don't remember a fuck up or like a stumble or anything. So that's kind of
Me
wild.
neither.
It's because I didn't.
That's mental.
But
Yo.
that was the point. That was like the point, right? But I was under time constraints. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't afford to. Quite literally, could not afford to. So I had to. I don't think I ever did my first punch in. My first punch in was like mid verse, right? We're talking mid verse, right? My first punch in was like maybe 4.
Not even 3.
Maybe 4? Maybe?
3 was. There's no way. Wow. That's crazy as hell. 3 was one take.
3
Which
one
one is
take
three
is
again?
also crazy, isn't it? That's great.
Which one is 3?
Underground
is the
Choppers 3,
fastest
your
one.
fastest.
Yeah.
15
Spider-Man
to-
jumping off the side of the building.
I don't remember the lyrics.
Oh, that one was definitely one take.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Even your fastest.
Definitely. Yeah.
Bro doesn't need
Fair
to
enough.
punch in.
This guy's a real rapper.
I do
He's
remember
that
talking to you
guy.
a while ago about you saying like you went overboard with the speed in UC2. You didn't have anything on your mind besides the speed. Do you still like think that or
Like about the verse? Yeah, I do.
yeah, it's
I do.
like 8 balls straight of absolute like insanity when it comes to speed.
I don't think I
Yeah.
ever went. Have I ever gone faster than that?
Or 10 seconds straight. I don't know about it. I mean,
Probably
I think that might have been the thing that CDTV used to present you. Like, it's
I think so.
understandable.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's understandable. That was the point. So,
Infinite Choppers had like a burst that was really close to UC3 that I thought, yeah, when I first heard your verse, I thought you beat it, and I like low key was like shitting my pants. I was like, no way, he just beat his fastest
shitting
on
his
my
pants.
chopper song.
SPS kid
I,
shits his pants.
Yeah.
I have a better understanding now of the chopper songs than I did before. Not to say I didn't already have a good one, but I realized that once you measure it, I feel like that's when you've kind of, you as the person writing it to then record it, right? Once you measure it, I feel like that's when you lose.
This is why I don't know
Because-
how to measure.
Hmm.
I tell them to do it.
Isn't there
Yeah.
like 3 different ways to measure it?
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
ignore
Nobody
it.
can really make a decided method. We just have this one that works well with UC and stuff, so we stick with it. But I mean, I don't think anybody on the UC series really measured bursts. It's kind of like Misery said in the UC7 burst. Like, how much SPS was that? I don't know. I just rap. That's pretty hard. I can't lie.
Oh,
Misery was always going fucking ham, dude. Oh, look
The,
at
the, like the
monster!
eye roll thing he does while he's
Oh,
doing
yeah.
yeah. Oh man, like the eyebrows.
Speaking of UC, Speaking of UC2, though, what do you think about the song overall? Like, were there any standout verses, things like that? Like, most of the hype was around Bloody Ruckus and DNA and Misery,
Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Okay.
I
Venom
will
State Dripping,
say,
kinda.
I was actually very impressed with DNA's because I think I
Mm.
was the one that suggested DNA to Sprite for number 2.
Ooh.
True.
Did you have like a song with him before that or something? Like, what made you know about him?
Why did I know about the DNA? I
There's a
couldn't
lot
tell
of
you,
ways.
but there's a lot of ways. But
He's all over YouTube.
I remember looking for a bunch of fast rappers, and I came across DNA.
Oh, maybe. Because he
And
used to like
then-
title his videos like super fast white rapper and stuff like that. So you'd
Yeah,
probably
or
find
what
him through
have
that.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
what
those
have
got some
you.
views.
That
And the
title.
can't
super fast
remember.
rap compilations.
Holy cow! I can't remember what video it would have been, but you know, I was just like, "Oh, get that guy."
And he nailed it, I'll be honest. That was his introduction verse for the UC suit, and he nailed it. It's a good
Yeah,
recommendation.
it is good.
I like all the DNA verses that are on UC projects.
Yeah, they're all really good.
Same.
Yeah.
I agree. When did Recronomicon Choppers come out?
I couldn't even tell you. It must have been
2015?
after
God.
UC2, surely.
I'll look it up real
2015 is
quick.
what I want to say off the top of my head, but I don't know. That's the year that the Book of the Wreck album was, right?
Yeah, the Book of the
Yeah.
Wreck. Yeah,
Book of the Wreck, bro.
He reused
No.
that like song on 5 other albums though, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint it.
How do you spell Recronomicon, dude?
Good
it's
luck.
it's WRECRON.
Okay.
And
You'll
Bro,
something
have no
it.
fear. I've got you, bro.
No, I got
So-
this. I got this. Not
I've
I'm
got
an
this.
independent woman.
May
Wait, I'll
13,
just tell you-
2015.
Oh, you bitch. Oh, fuck.
So yeah, that must have been after UC3, I guess.
I typed solid 6 instead of split.
but I
You see
couldn't tell you when. But I found out about him because once again I was looking not necessarily for underground choppers, but just because I didn't even know 2 was going to happen at this point. And so when 2 was in the works, I said, "Oh, maybe that guy will work." So that's how we came into contact with DNA directly. I don't know if anybody really stood out to me in particular because up until that point it was kind of just business as usual, but there was also more of a competitive edge at the time, like early on. I feel like 2 and 3 is where the competitive edge was. After 3, we were kind of just hanging out making the faster rap song of the year or whatever.
Okay.
And then getting more people and so on and so forth.
That's when SPS kids invented themselves.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. You couldn't see very many before UC3. So so tell us about UC3 and how that came to be. Were you reached out once again, and were you more involved in the making of the song? Because there was a hook and everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
after
yeah, the
2,
hook.
after 2 there's, after 2 is when I had the actual involvement in the song, right? Like musically. So 3, Sprite reached out to me, but this time Sprite was the one getting all the people. I don't even know if I really suggested anybody for real on 3.
You know where JL came from? How did you get how did JL end up on that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, JL of B Hood. I thought that was really interesting that he was able to
Yeah,
get
man.
somebody that was at the time on Strange.
Oh,
on
yeah. Yeah, actually. Yeah, that's crazy,
Yeah.
the timing. I never thought about that. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We were making it out of the hood with that one.
For real.
I'm trying to think if we're talking standout.
I think
I
K-Fix
thought-
has a crazy
Oh, standout
verse
versus
on that track.
K-Fix, man. That was
K-Fix,
K-Fix's.
bro.
It wasn't his debut, but that was wild.
K-Fix into Split is goated moment.
Yeah,
Great
that's that.
transition,
I always thought that was kind of goated.
Yeah.
I always thought that one was really goated. The K-Fix was always one of the more solid choppers on the project.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
K-Fix is
clean.
To be
crazy,
honest
man.
with you.
So clean.
And so, I always had a lot of respect for K-Fix and all that.
Oh, okay. Was this like around when you started making friends with these people instead of just being like music people?
I'm not gonna lie to you. The only underground choppers that I can genuinely say I was like on friend terms with to a certain degree would have been DNA, Sinizter, and I guess
assume Ruffian, right?
I guess Tonic,
Oh,
Oh,
tonic.
okay.
and now Rugged Ruffian.
And not fenksta. You want to collab with the guy?
aside from fenksta, because I knew fenksta. I went to college with him. We went to college together. So that's different.
I actually didn't know y'all went to college together.
Yeah, me and
That's
fenksta
so
went to college. He was so he's Croatian, as we know. My best friend since I was about 2 or 3 is Bosnian, and so I had an idea of, the Herzegovina and all of that already. So when I met him, he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm Croatian," because he's not like a regular white guy. He's not like an American white guy. He's like, he's how he is. And so I was like, "Wait a minute, are you Russian or something?" He goes, "No, I'm Croatian." I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." And so we started hanging out. I've been on frozen lakes with that guy, and if you're from the desert, frozen lakes are like the scariest concept conceivable.
Just don't fall through. You'll be all
Don't
right.
fucking fall.
He's like a big guy. He's like 6 something, wide set. He's like a big guy. So I'm like, I don't know if I should be out here in the middle of this frozen lake with you, bro.
That's back on the topic. Let me try to remember. So, what do you think about Okay, actually, I want to ask this because I've never known about this. Do you know why Con was on the song? Kohn?
Oh, yeah,
Because he's kind of a mystery to this day. He kind of appeared on the song and never chopped
who
again.
is that guy?
And it was kind of an oddity.
I
You
was
weren't
not
involved?
in any way involved with what is that? Which one is that? Is he even on?
UC3? Yeah.
3.
So that
He's
is
like
3.
near the end, I
Yeah,
think.
right before
Yeah,
jail.
yeah.
I guess it must have been Sprite like choosing him because I still don't know.
It was ultimately always Sprite's project. Whatever he said goes. I was never able to be like, "Hey, put this person on," and then he has to. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I only suggested DNA. I only suggested fenksta. I only suggested KVR. I only suggested Dread and Rugged.
Something I do want to ask about is you always talk about like speed being too much. Was Crucified on UC3 like considered too much for you, or did you actually like find a way to like it?
Clean layering.
If we're talking right? If we're talking and I'm being subjective, okay? I have not liked a Crucified verse. Wait.
Yeah.
Until Infinite Choppers.
Okay.
That's so bizarre to me because I feel like he was on other different like technical levels when he was on UC and stuff like
that. That's wonderful, but I don't know that.
Okay.
Ask me why I don't know that.
Why didn't you know that?
Because it was too fast.
Yeah.
It
Big
was fast
facts.
enough where I can't tell where I can't tell the technique. And that's not to say there is no technique, but for me, Schrodinger's cat is a dead one. What do you want me to do? I can't hear it. I can't. Hey, Jabril, how do you feel about this painting? What painting? I'm blind. I can't see.
Have you seen other Crucified music? Have you like ever checked out his like stuff? This is not me being like he's good, bro. Like I kind of agree, but he has slower stuff.
So I remember hearing "Smoked Out."
That's kind of fast.
That's still fast. Yeah.
And my man said, "Kind of." It's so fast. I literally said, "All right, never mind. I don't need to be the fastest rapper ever. Never mind. It's not gonna happen."
You don't need to do that for sure.
Yeah, you didn't need to get smoked out.
I don't really see the point going faster than 15 SPS, to be completely honest. There's not really much point. Because at that point, it just it's so hard to incorporate any kind of interesting patterns or anything into it because it's just as fast as possible.
It can still be interesting, though, because smoked out, it was interesting. If you listen to it, you'll be impressed. But
it's all layered and
it's not like that. Yeah, it's not the type of stuff that I'd expect from Split, and based on the way he's talked about fast rap,
Well,
and
yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You're good.
I was just gonna say, like you said about being pigeonholed, you don't want your entire brand to be that. That just is a part of the thing that you can do if you want to,
Right. I assume Crucified leads into it a lot, considering those are his million view videos, right? That's the first rap, so he kind of has to.
Oh shit! Does it have that many views? Damn.
That music probably is 1 million by now. A lot of people have reviewed it, and it's quite popular. When Pigeonhole thing is like whenever you get into the SPS stuff and you start making these fast songs, especially at that level, you get stuck with it if you're not like if you're not popular from music beforehand. Yeah. I know KVR, he was stuck being a fast rapper. He couldn't escape it. Like he wasn't doing fast rap music, but people still thought he was a fast rapper, so he even changed his name and shit like that. Like when you do the fast rap stuff, nobody will look at like people in the SPS community. They don't really care otherwise. It's kind of a shame. And I kind of thought it would happen for you, Split, but it didn't really. Like people still respect you for the fast rap, but it's not. I don't think. I mean, do you get comments every single day about like bring back fast rap?
Not every day, but you know, I'm grateful to have a lot of the fans that knew me for the fast rap. You know, still kind of sort of checking in on the newer music. Yeah. But that's why I changed my name so that it wouldn't happen. And that was the idea. I was able to kind of sort of start from scratch and kind of just be like, okay, you know, I get to build the musical profile this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, what do I want that to look like? And I'm glad I did. Plus, it becomes very easy to kind of refer to prior styles, prior songs, prior eras of my musical career. All you just have to do is say the old name.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do.
Yeah, and like you still do fast bursts in your split stuff, and I think incorporated in a tasteful way.
Like, at least still with the chopper style.
Death Machine with Pyrocyter, that one has a pretty cool fast bit that I think works well in the track.
I like that one.
Yeah,
I do like that.
You know, it's a banger.
And even though you don't do the bursts as much, you still like got the fast drop, like chopper style with the, Mashallah, which you dropped. I think it was just a day ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That song was crazy. I got up from my chair while listening to it, dude.
Thank you. That's the idea. I just want to make stuff that, you know, I think is cool, number one. But number two, that other people can listen to and they can enjoy it. You know, I gotta listen to something when I'm vacuuming or doing the dishes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes I have an idea of what I want that to sound like, so I try to make it.
Okay, and I'm just wondering. I feel like most rappers choose not to listen to themselves a lot, but do you do that? You listen to yourself a lot?
So I regret to say that yes, I do. I do listen to my own music, kind of often. But whereas before it was more analytical, now it's just I more or less make the music that I kind of want to hear.
That's probably a good thing, though, right?
And so ultimately, I can grab a song from my own catalog that suits whatever it is that I'm going for at the time.
That's real.
And so if nobody else listened to my music, I would be listening to my music. As sad as that kind of sound.
I don't think it's sad though, because I think if you're actually making something that you think is good, I don't see why you wouldn't listen to it unless you've like heard it too many times that you're bored. But other than that, I don't really see why you wouldn't listen to it.
Yeah, some people I've heard some people just say like it's kind of egotistical to listen to your music and think that's the shit.
I don't think it is. I think it's just if you made something that you think is good, then yeah.
I've heard my own.
Yeah.
Oh, you can go. No, you can go.
No. Well, I was just gonna say, I feel like it can be egotistical.
Oh yeah, it can for sure.
Depending on how you do it,
yeah,
it's just like, oh, nobody else understands me. I'm so like, you know what I mean? Like in that regard, sure. Right, in that regard, sure. But me, I'm just like, oh, hey, what you listen to? Nothing.
Split. I'm listening to Split.
No. I never tell people that I'm listening to my music.
Good.
I never do that.
I've listened to my own music so much to the point where like I just get like revolted when I've heard a song too much. Like a good example is my song with Ruffian Rugged Intensity. I've heard that song. I've heard me go head explode so many fucking times that
head explode.
I just can't fucking deal with it, dude. Like it's gotten to the point where I've wanted to remaster that whole song, even though like I probably couldn't do better than what I did there. Well, maybe I could. I don't know.
Basically, I have to explain.
It's
Like,
head.
basically, no one on Slum thought you sounded fruity as fuck when you said "head explode." Like, I'm gonna be doing a big head explode. So he just kept on repeating that until he pissed you off, and it started this new
It
thing.
led into because I leaned into that ghost main like voice crack type of thing. Oh man, Ruffian did so good on that fucking song. Except for there was the part where, oh my god, it was the mocha.
That's just his style, though. It's not. You can't really hate on it.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's just like I'm just my American brain is so wired to only hear him going bucket, and it's like what you mentioned with Crucified earlier. It's just not my cup of tea. It's just kind of out of this world. Even though I'm currently attempting to go in 21 SPS, but
it wouldn't be the same without a fast part like that. Wouldn't be a Ruffian Rugged track. Wouldn't be a Ruffian Rugged track.
Because I had a fast part on that where I was trying 21 and I failed.
Exactly.
So we need to talk about UC4.
Yeah, we do. So UC3 to UC4.
All of them.
We got to go through all of them, man. This is all like, you know, SPS.
This is to be fair. This is what the people watching this want. To be fair.
Yeah.
So.
4 is what does the cover look like? If I look at the cover, I'll actually remember.
It's like probably Sprite.
It's got like the first interchopper appearance. We got a crazy criminal RO.
Criminal RO.
Okay.
Yeah, criminal RO.
It was a bunch of random
MC
people.
Rice.
You gotta be honest. Des, MC Rice, criminal, I think it's pronounced. Interchopper. There was just random people. Like
Crucified again was kind of cracked though. Like that was great 2 times in a row. And then Interchopper being like the watered down version of Crucified behind that kind of solidified it.
I actually don't like that comparison. Only because Interchopper's first language is not English.
That's true.
So
that's why his lyrics might not make sense all the time.
Right. His lyrics are kind of indicative of that. But we lost Murrk.
He'll be back eventually.
This happens every podcast.
There's always at least one guy.
Oh.
I'll be back though. His Discord probably just crashes. Should he just continue, I guess? UC4.
All right. Anyways, so
it's not clear.
So his English is not that, it's not that clear. But the fact that he's still doing it and reaching these blinding speeds is kind of a testament to his tenacity. Hey, Murrk is back. For me, Crucified and Interchopper are in their own kind of leagues when it comes to just speed, right?
Yeah.
But it's a league that I could never appreciate because I could never perceive, and I couldn't perceive, therefore I couldn't understand.
Right.
So, it kind of just ended there for me. So people like Crucified, Interchopper,
A Georgian versus a Texan.
It's not something I could ever weigh in on. So I didn't, and it never really held anything for me there. It was just like, okay, underground choppers. If we want to be successful, we got to bring the choppiest of choppers, and so Crucified and Interchopper have and will always be that. What did I say on this?
Yes, this is the part where everybody freaked out over your line, the onion line.
Is this the onion line?
Yes.
Is this the onion line? Okay, this is the onion line.
What did he say?
The onion line.
Yeah, you know the lyrics, right, Split?
I know the line, all right.
I probably will know it if someone says it, but
yeah, you will. I know you quoted it all the time.
I'll be Adam and keep battering beats that are elite. The bleak chattering really don't seem adequate. That is if we had to critique rappers. And if what is it? And if you're fragile, my opinion will make you cry. Like I took 3.14 out of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
So I remember first being really not mad, but slightly like dejected by the part where that's what people focused on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that one in particular was like littered with lines like that. Especially up until that point. That was just the last one I said, right? On that line. And so I'm sorry, on that verse. And so I remember going, oh cool, they got it. But why'd you get that one? What about this one? What about that one? What about this one? This one's better even. This one's better even.
You didn't hear the other one?
You know what I mean? My method of chopping to cut up the air that you breathe and to give a new meaning to breath mints. If you test this. What else was there? I'm pretty sure I had a John Cena line in there somewhere.
Yeah, Cena rapper something.
I mean, I thought it was a really good verse just in general. Right?
Yes.
And I thought it was cool that enough people got it to where they were like, oh snap. They were like, oh snap, look at what he did. If you know what I'm saying? And so that was the rush for me. It was never, oh my god, UC2 is so fast. It was never that for me. It was never a lamina with it, bomb to come. It was never that. Right? Like you took 3.14 out of it. That was the rush. And so I thought that was really cool. And so after that, I feel like people kind of sort of understood, hey, Split might not be the fastest, but he's definitely going to be up there with regards to the lyrical ability. And that was always kind of what I wanted. That was always what I wanted. So
yeah.
That's what Tech9 does to him.
I mentioned MC Rice.
Shout out MC Rice, man. He was on Explore, and it led to all these tracks, Illest Choppers, and it kept on going. He kept finding new talent, and it was just all because of that one feature. We might not know who he is if it wasn't for UC4. So I don't know how he got on the song, but
how did he get on?
To him. Probably Facebook. Like it's kind of like
it's probably like a Sprite thing hitting him up.
Yeah,
it's probably something between him and Sprite. You know, maybe Sprite hit him up. He hit up Sprite. I don't know.
Okay,
but he was there, and I was like, okay, cool. We got more.
Just stands out to my brain. And Dez.
More international choppers, so to speak, because I guess the idea of choppers as a concept is inherently American, thanks to Tech9. But the fact that even he had people who weren't just American on worldwide choppers and all of that, that opened up the gates. Oh man, how many different languages can you chop in? Pretty cool. It's really cool. I like the diversity. I like the idea that I might not be able to understand what you're saying by just the fact that you're speaking a different language, but I can hear you flowing. I can hear that.
Yeah. I think it works particularly well in like when you're getting to the faster speeds, right? Because a lot of the people listening aren't understanding a lot of what's being said anyway, so they're sort of focusing on the flow patterns and stuff like that, and so it fits in quite well for at least those kinds of listeners anyway. But
rhythm based hearing, rhythm, like everyone wants to hear the rhythm of it.
Yeah,
that's
why nobody catches the bars.
All right, so moving on. Underground Choppers 5. This is where you got even more involved with it. You not only had the hook and had the first verse, you had your guy Silent Side? Yeah, Silent Side on the guitar in that song.
Oh yeah, Silent Side was. Oh, that one. Okay, yeah, true. I really like that one.
Yeah.
Was it just because it was short and sweet?
Huh? Well, the part where it's short and sweet is honestly nice, especially because at that point we had like a lot of people that like in a bucket that we could pull from.
Halfway.
So, not to mention, musically it was different from the prior 4, thanks to Silent Side's involvement.
UC6, the pinnacle one in my mind. Very long.
Yeah.
It is long.
Oh, like you mean just the song
in the whole series, like it's most pinnacle. At least in my head, some people would have other opinions on
7
that. I think UC6
7 the best
is like,
one.
7 and 8 like have hard competition with 6 in terms of that spot, but like 6 is like giant. K-Fix ends it and then starts 7, which is a great thing. Was it?
That's not on purpose.
Interchopper did the video.
That's not on.
I figured it wasn't on purpose, but it was still great.
Not on purpose, but that's.
And then Interchopper edited the video for 6, right? I think. I don't know if he mixed the song.
Okay, the video. I understand UC kind of needed a video to be more interesting,
the
but
video.
Like, all of the videos were just like handheld phone recordings. And shit like
Those are crazy.
Well, wasn't it like a thing they just threw together kind of quickly after it came out, because it didn't drop as a music video, did it? Yeah.
I don't remember.
It didn't drop as a music video.
Yeah,
and then a couple of days later, it came out or something as a music video.
So we were working on the video amidst production of the song, and so So we were already working on it. So it was already like mostly done by the time the song came out. So that was like the point.
And then obviously we know Tonic and Fenksta, like you were quite involved in having them on the song. Like
You found Tom.
you mentioned like Tonic from I think it was his PTSD entry for Tech 9.
Yep.
I remember that. And when it comes to Fenksta, I know you went to college with him, but did he coincidentally just chop? Did he like that genre of music?
Yeah, he did actually. When I met him in college, he kind of let slip that he made music and all that, and he said he was like into rap and all that. And I remember him going, and so we're sitting at a like the lunch table. I remember him going, "Do you like Eminem?" And I'm like, "Yes, I like Eminem." like he said all like suspicious, like,
He's
"Do
scared.
you like Eminem?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I like Eminem." He's like, "Which Eminem?" And I'm like, "All of them. What is this question?" And he's like, "Okay, all right." I'm like, "All right, cool. What's the question?" And so because at that point, you know, there was the whole thing about Eminem before versus Eminem recently.
It still is.
Point, after recovery and all that. So we were talking about rappers that we liked, and of course Tech 9 came up, and apparently Worldwide Choppers was like his most favorite song ever. Let me hear some of your stuff. And he showed me like a faster thing that he did, and I was like, oh.
Wow.
Oh.
It's pretty hard coincidence to come by. I don't find anybody near here that chop.
Okay. Right, exactly. So, and that's kind of
just like, I need to keep talking to you, man.
Yeah. I had already left the college at that point, so this is more after that fact, but that's like how I knew Fenksta. And so when it came up that this was a thing, I was like, oh, okay. So try this out. I sent like some samples to Sprite, and he was like, okay, cool.
Nice.
The more the merrier.
Nice.
The more the merrier.
Next up.
So
Seven has some stuff, I think.
Yeah. The making of 7 probably has a lot more story to it, because I know during the making of 7, SPS was at its peak, like in terms of the amount of people who were active and talking about it, and the whole song was dedicated to SPS in a way. It's just like, fuck you, SPS. I'm fucking sick of your bullshit.
Like a flea. You're trying to swat a flea.
I agree with UC7.
But the thing is, they had that and then had interchopper on the song going. It didn't. Why were they talking about? I hate SPS, but they had that going on.
Interchopper possessing you in the corner.
So I don't think I was too involved with this one, aside from, of course, Silent Side coming back for the
KVR,
guitar.
I suppose.
And KVR. I was this is around about when I started working with Sunblazed, because the video was shot in the Sunblazed recording booth. Yeah, no, 7 was okay. I thought 7 was okay, but I feel like I didn't do too much, like, with the song itself, aside from KVR and then the guitars going over it.
It did lead to a lot, though. I mean, it started I assume that's what started your connection with Sinizter, which you then worked with much later into your career and made some.
Sinister's gone crazy now.
With 7 wasn't it? 7,
no.
He was just kind of another person on Underground Choppers for me.
Oh, okay.
And me and Sinizter really didn't start talking like that until like just before UC 10. You know, we would like chat. There was the one time we were all playing Mortal Kombat 11 with Omega Sin and Fluency.
That's so random.
Nice.
It wasn't 7, and it also actually wasn't even 8. I liked the direction of music that Sinizter was going in, but I never really reached out to him about it in particular. So, but we would just kind of just talk sometimes. So
the features on the song.
I mean, in general, it's just Bones and Chopper.
No. What could have been?
What could have been?
UC7 was the one, right? UC7 one is
7.
Yeah, we're talking about 7 ahead. We're still talking about 7. So the ISO. Yeah, so the ISO and the twist.
The whole. King ISO and Twisted Insane. Is this the one?
I was waiting for you guys to bring it up.
I forgot entirely.
I forgot about that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of little now, but I mean,
tell us about it, because from Misery's side of the story, he got scammed into paying Sprite Reverse that wasn't like it didn't fall through. I mean, it fell through, and you know, he didn't get his money back from Sprite. It's like, was everyone just like doing a Kickstarter for the ISO verse or Twisted verse? Like, what was going on
I
there?
remember we were trying to pool money together for a verse for Twisted Insane.
Okay.
And
Sensei
I can't
mentioned some.
recall.
Yeah.
I really can't recall what ended up happening, but I know that it didn't happen. Obviously,
For real.
And
I don't even know if I got my money back or not. I couldn't tell you, but
I feel like
I remember it was a small enough amount of money to where I might not have cared to remember, which is why I still don't.
Right.
So there's that, but I can completely understand, you know, hey, you know, we're pulling together money to do something and it doesn't work, you know, let me get my capital, my capital back. Let me get my investment. So I get that. I don't actually know what went down between Misery and Sprite in that regard, but I do know it was really weird for Misery after that.
it wasn't on a UC again, obviously.
Yeah.
You do know that text that Twisted sent. It was like, I can't be on the song. I'm a worldwide chopper. I'm not an underground chopper. Yeah.
I'm a worldwide underground.
I assume that's the reason it didn't happen.
There.
I don't know what to make of that because
It was probably a bit. It probably wasn't super serious, right?
I mean, maybe not. I know that rubbed Sprite the wrong way, obviously.
Yeah.
And I get that, but that was something.
What was it going to be, an ISO verse at first, or did it become a
I
Twisted?
don't know how ISO got in the conversation, I'll be honest, because I still hear
I
the
don't
name
know
ISO being brought up. But
I don't know if we were ever gonna have King ISO.
I think over time that got added when people talked about it.
Yeah, I don't know if we were ever gonna have King ISO on the song. Actually, no, on any of them really, for that matter.
okay.
So
You just hinted at a UC11.
Did you?
Yeah, when's UC11 coming out?
UC11 coming out?
It's not happening, right? It's just
Let me organize
Spice has
it.
moved on.
I got you.
If it were to happen, I feel like I'd have to be there.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And you would know if it would happen. He's
You
not
were
going
on
to
every
Sprite wouldn't
single
make.
one.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if it were to happen and I knew about it prior, and someone like, so for example, let's say Sprite were to reach out to me and say, I'm doing 11, you know the deal. I would have to begrudgingly sit down here in my chair and go, oh man, here we go, Vicodin pack and a black.
Are we really doing this again, Sprite?
Yeah,
You already you dislike the chopper stuff that much? I mean, you want infinite choppers, after all.
Right, why are we fucking doing that?
That's not the thing, honestly. It's as time goes on, you know, time takes its course. I genuinely don't feel like I could outspeed my younger self. I don't think I could. I feel like if I didn't at least somewhat try to, it would be a disservice to people who were coming to the song expecting something like that. I have something that I must do now under certain circumstances. I
built my purpose here.
Right, I have a purpose. I couldn't have gotten on it infinite choppers and 6 syllables per second. You can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So I'd have to deliver. I solemnly swore to give them nothing but dopeness, and that is what I continue to do. And if that means that I have to say no to an Underground Choppers 11, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to do like the same thing over and over again, right? Forever.
So, UC8, another music video. It was teased and quite hyped. It was crucified at the very end again.
Yeah.
And a very peculiar case with the bars and everything, like Sinizter getting 8 bars, also being the slowest verse in the history of Underground Choppers at like 8 or something SPS.
Fun statistic.
It's kind of
Lady
bizarre.
Murder's not slower?
No.
That's crazy.
No.
She hits the one devil shit flow.
Yeah, it's
This
kind
is
of
my favorite
She might
UC
have more.
Sprint verse, by the way.
I need to check out more Lady Murrk.
Crazy, bro. I love that one.
I really like 8 too.
Yeah. The whole part where you mention all the artists on the track goes crazy.
Love
how you
that
fit
shit.
them all into something.
Oh, and
that
you
makes
even
sense.
said a name that didn't end up. What was the name that didn't actually end up being on the song? You said in the verse. It was
So
Sensei?
person that whose name that I mentioned that didn't end up being there was indeed Sensei. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Was he on
Verbally
the song?
iconic Sensei.
Wait,
Yeah.
Was he on the song? Hold on.
No, he's not.
Oh.
He's not.
it's not.
Are you sure? I swear. Okay,
Yeah, no,
I'll
he's
take your word
not.
for it.
No, he's not.
You're thinking of mcdread, though.
Yeah, I really liked that one. Shooting that video was really cool. I feel like overall that was just a really good one, just in general. Because even the others really stepped it up for this one.
Yeah.
And kind of getting to see them in action. That whole Boondock Saints thing that
Oh yeah.
Megasin and K-Fix had going on. I was there for that.
Yeah, that was
Like,
cool.
I was blocked in watching that happen.
Oh, I'm getting called.
All right, while you do that, let's talk about UC9. This is when you were like in the community at this point. You joined the server at that point, and you were like, "Hey guys, for UC9, I've memed it up and something like that." So we
You
see,
say like boneless
like-
pizza or whatever.
yeah, and like what was up with that?
So I don't want to. I want to say this is the beginning of me kind of realizing how I had been pigeonholed, or at least understanding it and being dissatisfied with that. Even the lyrics at the beginning, the lyrics at the beginning are indicative of how I felt about that. You are merely getting a taste of infinite rage. Wonder about the quality of chopping. Is it the same or did it decay? Is all of the clarity vivid, insane that didn't attain? Finally reaching a peak and then crumble to pieces and just peacefully drift in the bay. Right, and so that was as flowery as I could have possibly said. Is it fast enough yet? Is it still cool? You know, is it doing it for you? You know,
You put it in too many complicated words. Okay.
Right. No, I mean, in a way, yeah, and you know,
it's cool though. That's the stuff
point.
Best way you could have
that's
put
what
it.
listening to Tech 9 does to you. You do stuff like that,
and it's not even really mournful because I thought it was really cool for what it was, and I'm glad that it still kind of is. I'm glad. It's just I wanted to do other stuff, and it felt like I couldn't. Not even like it felt, but like I felt like I couldn't, and that really kind of sucked a little bit. You know, I'm not, and just like you said, not a, you know, at that point, I had kind of just gotten into the scene, and like I joined the server and everything, and I got to see what it looks like to be a fan of the fast rap community.
Oh man!
Not gonna lie, guys. And if you guys can hear me, if you guys can hear me, you guys are some interesting folks. Guys, some interesting folks.
Yeah,
I said,
that's
okay.
Right. You guys are
So many-
weird.
100 names just went through my head.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Oh man!
And there's no
I'm one of them.
there's no ill will towards any of them, honestly. But what I didn't kind of like, and this is definitely something that I want to say at some point, but what I didn't like was the idea that I was some kind of larger than life like character who like it puts you on a pedestal in some of these kids' minds. And I get that, you know, I was a very young Tech 9 fan once, but then I found out he was like my height. And what that did for me was it made me realize that, hey,
He's just
these
a
are
guy.
human beings. He's just a guy. These are human beings. He was wearing like that dark blue like button up shirt that he was wearing in the pictures. And it's like when you compare that to the visual idea of Tech 9, the artist, it's just like, okay. But
That is an Aaron Yates.
Yeah, I didn't meet Tech 9. I met Aaron Yates. And
True.
you know, he my mom went with me because my dad couldn't at the time. My mom went with me, and my mom is also Muslim, so she covers, like, so she had, you know, the head wrap. So think, right, a big white, you know, Tech 9 all 6s and 7s shirt and the head wrap. But the funny thing that we know about Tech is that his dad was Muslim.
Oh yeah,
And it's very indicative of a lot of the culture that he puts in his music. And so when I first walked up to him, he didn't even greet me, but he said like "Assalamu alaikum" to my mom, and I was like, "Wow, this is a human being."
Respectful one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a human being, and normally, your heroes, they die good, they die young, or they live long enough to become the villain. But I feel like at that point, it was so long that I had been listening to Tech Nine's music. I felt like I had an idea of who he was. That completely shattered it because everything was so fantasy based. But here he is standing in front of me, greeting my mother the same way, I would have greeted my mother if she wasn't my mother. And that it was really formulating. I tried to make sure I stay as humble as possible and kind of remember where I came from, because if Tech can do that, then who am I? I'm not Tech Nine. You know what I'm saying? And so when I got into the server and everything, it was in really stark contrast to kind of that idea, because you have people going, "Oh my God, Split Second, you're my favorite rapper," and they get all flustered and things. And not that I don't appreciate that or understand that, but I don't desire that, because I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm really not. I'm just a guy, and I wish everybody could have that kind of experience with me or whoever, right? Because if any of you guys in here stood in front of me, you'd realize that I'm only 5'6". You know what I'm saying?
I'm
You'd
6
realize,
foot. Oh my God.
right?
We're all like 6 foot.
Yeah, I'm only 5'6", yo. You know what I'm saying? You'd realize I'm only 5'6". I have hair on my head. I have a shirt on my back. It's chill. You know what I'm saying?
I'll let you sit on my shoulders.
Right. So, right, exactly. Maybe not, though.
Well, I was going to say while performing.
Maybe not. Oh. Right. But that would be cool in the confinement of like a concert situation. But so, I get into the server and I'm starting to learn about everybody who is like a fan of me, and I'm hearing people call me Split Second Sir, and I'm like, okay, why are you saying Sir? I'm not that old. Okay.
I'm not your dad.
Relax. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate it. And so because I was able to, situations like that, we're talking, the time where I played Among Us with the guys, and, we're all just people. You know what I'm saying? We're all just hanging out.
Yeah.
And for Underground Choppers 9, I said, listen, I'm going to troll you guys.
Nice.
And you're going to be mad about it. You're going to be mad about it. Okay? So that's what I did.
Dude, I remember when you dropped UC9, I was literally on my computer as an infrost calling in the UL server, and you joined VC, and we were all talking, and NahDah was there too, and some other people, and then you were just like casually like, "Oh yeah, Underground UC9 just dropped," and I was like, no tease or anything, just dropped. I was like, "What the fuck?" And then that's where I found Ghost for the first time, because when that first came out, and like that led me down the rabbit hole of like seeing who he was, and what he's done. He's such a good rapper. This is a Ghost praising session.
Yeah, Ghost. If you were around in like the YouTube Choppers days, Ghost was a very popular name, along with VBL.
VBL's so good too.
So yeah, and so to get them both was like a big deal for Sprite. So that was pretty cool.
They're like what you need for chopping too for that.
It is kind of funny though that Ghost went into UC9 saying, "What is it with all of this gibberish that is becoming into the game?" When UC is at fault for that, for causing the gibberish that is up in the game that he was in. That's a bit funny. But
like, what caused this is on the problem.
I mean, you could argue that it's somewhat UC, but I think like the actual cancer lies a bit deeper down with all the SPS kids making horrible tracks that are just like rap as fast as possible.
A list, man.
Because like the Underground Choppers tracks, like you could say what you want about them, but they are actual, they're proper tracks, aren't they?
You say Elemental?
No.
I swear to God, I heard you.
All right, last song. This is the song that finished UC, and nobody was really happy about it when it came out. Obviously, there was some verses that people liked, but it didn't have an impact and the comments. I mean, the video got dislike bombed, and the comments were like, "It's all right." What was up with that? Why do you think people didn't like it that much?
So I think, given the recent successes of, trap metal artists like Sinizter, for example, I think Sprite wanted to try something new, like super new, right? To kind of go out in a way that nobody would have like expected from the series. And I commend him for that. Personally, I thought the beat was fine. It's just mixed a little weird, which
For real, yeah.
you could say that about most things. Who had mixed this one? Was it
Fenksta.
Thanks.
Yeah, this time. So he wasn't supposed to. Somebody else was. I can't remember who it was, and something fell through. But we had to get somebody to mix it. And so Fenksta tried his hand at it. And it was at the very least passable, right? Obviously a very far cry from what people were used to from the series, and unfortunately that takes away from what I consider to be some of the best verses that I had heard from a lot of rappers on Underground Choppers. Just period. K-Fix, Bones, actually, the ultimate Ruffian Rugged verse. DNA's was really actually pretty cool. It wasn't his best, obviously, but I thought it was pretty good. All things considered, VBL too. Just all in all, I thought this was a very, very, very good entry. I'm really sad about it because I personally think, and I don't think I found anybody else that shares this opinion, but I personally think that this is the best verse that I have done on an Underground Chopper song.
It's like kicking 5 guys in the lower leg is how I plan to break the tension. Yeah.
Yes, because I mean, obviously not that line in particular. That's just filler, if you will. But that sets the concept for the next like 8 bars. Honestly, like that. That's it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think a lot of the verses are really good. It's just the beat kind of drowns them out in a way. Yeah.
Like I'm not an artist. I don't make music or anything. But I've heard people that were in UL who were like rising and becoming better musicians. They were saying that it was mixed poorly. So I kind of have to take that face value and assume, it probably is. It did have a problem with the mixing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It because it was mixed like how it was, it detracts from how good it was elsewhere. You know what I mean? So so that's what I'm saying. That's like my biggest regret about that song, for example. But if you had to make me sit there and listen to all 10 of them front to back, 10 would be the best time I'd have.
Well,
So do you say that's your favorite verse that you've done for that series?
And not only just your verse,
hands down.
Your favorite UC?
No, I'd probably have to go to if we're talking incomplete in totality, it'd go 5 and then 10 and then maybe 8.
Oh, that's so hard to say with 8 and 9. They're so close in my head. I feel like exactly the same in skill level. 8 and 9.
Exactly. Yeah. So
we finally got through all the Underground Choppers.
That was a marathon.
Like I was curious. Like we've been doing this for 2 hours now, and I looked up like Joe Rogan podcast, and he does like 4-hour fucking podcasts. I thought we were doing shit long, but like, what the fuck is this? Do people watch this?
People watch this. Everyone loves Split.
Yeah. Definitely.
I like to think most people enjoy my stuff, or enjoy my takes. So I think that's cool. It's all right.
Yeah,
YouTube choppers.
It's called Podcast Choppers. Like we talk about choppers.
I don't know if you had any other questions about like anything else.
Oh my god! Okay, I have a notepad here of lyrics. I forgot about all of these. This is fun questions from people who I asked. All right, there's only about like 10 or something, maybe something like that. So, first one. I'll try not to. Okay, there were a few of them were trolls, but all right.
I'll take the troll ones. That's okay. I'll take the troll ones.
This one comes from Unplace. How do you practice going at high speeds? I guess it's a fair question. Like, was it just repeating?
That's fair. So I try to keep I try to keep my joints oiled, so to speak.
Yeah.
And anytime a fast verse would come out from like a really like famous artist, so like Busta Rhymes, Eminem, etc., I would try to learn them, and that's like how I would stay in practice. So like we're talking Rap God, Godzilla, um, Look at Me Now by Busta Rhymes. We had like Break Your Neck and all of that. Like I listen to this kind of music anyways. And so if I'm rapping along with it, then that's kind of me staying informed, if you will. Um, and so that's kind of how I practice it. If I have a verse that I'm writing, if that's what you meant, if you meant like how would I practice a verse that I've already written, and how would I practice like doing it fast before I record it. I kind of just write it like that. Once I write it, I understand how I'm going to rap it fast, if that makes any sense. And so then at that point, it's just repetition, just practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, and you
Only
really mastered it.
Sorry, only you know like the exact words like that you can say that flow out syllables like that flow out on the right syllable flow like that.
Right.
So when you're trying to read some other people's verses, like it's so hard to digest because it's so like they already went through it and fucking constructed it, and now you're trying to understand like the very little bits of it.
And you bring up an interesting point. So a lot of times, like one of the SPS kids, for example, will send me some lyrics and they'll go, "Oh, is this good?" And I'm just like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know how you're gonna say it. I don't know what you're gonna do with it. You've showed me your paint,
This could be
but
any.
not your painting. Yeah, you said I'm gonna use this color and this color and this color." And I'm like, okay, is this good? I don't know.
I remember you also telling me years ago that this actually helped me when you told me this when I was in Frost. It made me stop drinking sodas before I recorded. You were telling me how like you'd help like people. They'd be like, "I'm about to go in, bro," and then they drink a fucking Mountain Dew, and then they get in the booth and fuck everything up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did you also say sweet tea?
What is that?
What is that?
It's halls.
Halls.
I don't know what that is.
Halls.
It's cough drops.
Okay.
That's the secret.
That's the secret, guys. There's the chopper drug. Take it.
Put on shorts. This is how you do it.
It's anything menthols, anything that is menthol based. So if you have Mentos, for example, those will kind of do. Anything to clear your, your esophagus.
I'd be eating a bunch of fucking fast food sometimes. It's not good, but I won't go in the studio right after.
Yeah, don't go in the studio right after. Your take is gonna be dog.
Sometimes I do though. Sometimes I completely just ignore it and I'll just like get in the studio. And sometimes it works, but then some days I'm not ready. I just need to come back.
Yep.
I'm going off topic. What's the next question?
The next question was, why did you change your rap name? We already know why. You can skip further. Earlier in the song. Podcast. Fuck.
Podcast. Yeah.
Podcast.
Omni Chopper asks, why did you decide to be on all Underground Chopper songs? Would you say it's a decision from you? Because it was mainly Sprite, like, picking, I would say. Or did you, I don't know.
I guess it was my decision to not say no each time you asked.
Yeah, so why did you keep on, like, continuing? Did you see it was better for your career? Or did you enjoy the songs? Or?
Oh, I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making them and kind of being able to compare myself and size myself up against other choppers. A lot of the personalities were very pleasant to work with, so there was that too. And I thought it was cool. And then I guess where that would have expired, that feeling would have expired, I then discovered, okay, there's a lot of kids, a lot of people who like it.
Okay. The next question. This one isn't even a question. Nova asks, make a song with Playboi Carti. That's a demand. Would you do it if he?
No. Oh, like if he asked me?
Okay, maybe. You would do it no matter what, because that's popularity, isn't it?
Right. Ultimately, you do it no matter what.
Do you like his music in regards to like?
So Playboi Carti. Playboi Carti is the combination of an artist whose artistry I do not understand and a fan base that glazes to unfathomable lengths. And like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't understand what you guys are tripping over. Like, I'm not even trying to be a hater, really, but this is not good. Like,
Wow.
as
Yeah,
far as I'm concerned,
I
the
agree.
only Playboy Carti songs that I would possibly listen to would be like "Go to the Moon," and it's not even his version. It's like some remix with like this really crazy instrumental behind it, and Vamp Anthem. But that's just because I think Vamp Anthem is hilarious. I think it's hilarious. He's one of the artists that I would listen to. I like ironically,
It's
Yeah.
comedically timed right. That's
like
pleasing
Well,
to you.
right,
yeah.
right, right. If somebody played Vamp Anthem just randomly, I think that was really funny.
It's
But
just
the
a
problem
completely
is,
different type of thing, isn't it?
yeah, and I've gotten a chance to experiment a lot musically. So like it's not like I can't understand that, hey, maybe musically people like this, and so that's why he's making it. But it is like objectively not good a lot of the times, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just a random person, but like holy
Yeah.
cow. And
Based take.
that's
Have you heard his raw vocals?
do I want to hear his raw vocals? Is
I was
a better
asking
question.
Murrk mainly.
Well,
Better
I
question.
don't know much about Playboy Kai, but does the guy not just like ad lib over a beat for like
he's
2
just
minutes?
a goofy guy that rides the auto tune.
Yeah, he has fun. Mate, he has
Like
millions
how
of
you-
listeners, so he's doing something right.
He's doing I like
Yeah,
it.
but he's sort of making like mosh pit music. He's not listening. He's not making music for people
I totally
to like,
get that scene just a
really
little bit,
think
you
about
know?
and introspect, is he? So
Right?
That's true. But even then, there's like a way you do that where it sounds cool.
yeah,
Sometimes it's just crazy. And then sometimes it's like, oh, I like that.
All right.
Like I didn't
Okay.
think we'd be talking about Playboy Cardi right now.
I didn't either, but to the person who was asking,
No, he demanded make a song with Playboy Cardi.
He
if
demanded.
he were to reach out to me, I would not say no, but he has no idea who I am. I promise you that.
What the fuck is a syllable? Asks, what's your least favorite shade of blue?
Oh, okay.
I guess like turquoise, cyan, teal, things like that.
Least favorite,
It is blue.
powder blue.
That's
Powder
real.
blue.
Powder
That's
blue.
real.
I've heard of that.
blue is so mid.
Mid as fuck.
It really is.
I gotta pull up powdered blue.
Sheiku
Yeah.
asks, how is being a black rap metal artist, since it's not very like common for black metal artists, I guess, to like be in that genre. I don't know.
So depending on when this question was asked, it's actually very common.
Mm.
It is actually very common. There are, if we're talking about just metal, period, Seven Dust, Howard Jones from Killswitch Engage, we have black metal artists. That's the thing. What's happening? Oh, he just showed me baby
Powder blue.
powder blue, bro. There's that. Plus, I listen to, and so I still do listen to a lot of alternative metal, metalcore, deathcore. So I'm tapped into like Brand of Sacrifice, Fire from the Gods.
I'm not finding something else.
There's a lot of black people in the metal spaces. And the only reason that people wouldn't know that necessarily is because they're usually in the like new metal related like cultures, metalcore kind of things like that. If you're listening to like Scandinavian death metal or symphonic metal, you're going to be pretty hard pressed. Anything with more of a European root, so we're talking like new wave of British heavy metal type bands. You're not going to get death metal. They're all actually, and in death metal, they're not very common either. If we're talking just straight up death metal, so not what are they called? Dimmu Borgir, bands like that. You're not gonna get like a black metal band. Like I get why people think that, but there's a lot of them, and so at first glance, yeah, sure, it's weird. Like okay. Like my family members might think it's weird, the regular black community might think it's weird. But as far as the black metal, and when I say black metal, I don't mean black metal genre. I mean black adjective people who are metalheads, right? In that community, it's very common. It's extremely common, and it's especially more so common with trap metal because the trap part is such a heavy indicator and heavy driving force of the music that oh, I slapped a saw on my trap beat and now I am trap metal. You know.
Well, yeah, it's like City Morgue and Young Rare and stuff.
Yeah. So, so that's so I feel like it's pretty common. And because of that, I think it's like cool. I don't get like weird looks necessarily about it. Especially given kind of just how I move in general, kind of like my hair and like my clothing usually. So, I feel like it's on brand, if you will.
Next question from a spam of letters. He asks, "Do you plan to rap faster in the future?"
Faster than what? If we're saying,
I guess faster than your fastest.
15.3.
Fastest, then no. Do I plan to? No. If it happens, it's on accident, and I'm telling you that now. Okay.
SPS kids are crying.
My bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really am. But faster than now? Maybe.
Okay.
See what happens. See what happens.
Like one of these days, you might be like, you know what? I feel like I could push this really hard, particularly right now.
Right, exactly.
The
Depends
same guy
on what
asks.
day it is.
He asks, "What do you think about fast Turkish rap?" Like, I assume maybe you've heard one or two Turkish artists that do rap fast. I mean, Cardiac is definitely the most popular one. I'm not sure if you know him.
What's the guy's name? That was on Underground. I'm sorry, that was on Worldwide Choppers. The first one.
Cheza. I think his name is pronounced Cheza.
Cheza. That was pretty cool. I have not gone out of my way to explore Turkish fast rap.
Yeah.
Nor do I necessarily intend to. But when I come across a fast rapper that's Turkish, it's pretty good. Do I speak Turkish? No, I speak Arabic, but that's not the same language. So I can't really do much more there than I can with a crucified verse, for example.
Quick question about Arabic. I have a buddy named Druid who says chopping in Arabic is like, no, a lot of people do it. Do you know anything about that? Like anything you can add to that? Can you do it? Do you know anybody that does it? Is it possible?
Possible because we know one guy. It's Vortex, and he does the fast rap.
Well, I know Vortex, but like that is the only thing I've heard. That's like the only thing.
Does nobody attempt it because it's difficult with the language, or just I don't know? Maybe there's no
patterns.
I don't think it's I don't think it's difficult because there are very heavy syllables in the Arabic language. So I don't actually know why it's not common. But
I guess maybe it just wasn't ingrained in the like English speaking community has chopper tracks. I don't think there hasn't been like an Arabic speaking person on a chopper track, so it hasn't had much evolution or anything like that. Yeah, we need to get that sorted. All right, the next question is from ConvictX. He asks, "Why did he get banned from Madagascar?"
What?
All right.
I think he's referring to himself. Like, why did he get banned from Madagascar? I don't know, bro. It's a troll question.
Oh, is he King Julian? Is he King Julian?
Couldn't tell you, bro.
Moto.
Yeah, what would get you banned from Madagascar?
How about poaching?
I like them chunky.
True.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, sounds.
Lincoln asks, "What are your thoughts on Crucified's album, The M.I.S.T, which is the one with DOWN6 feature and the Duminoid song, things like that?" I'm assuming you haven't listened to it in full, but like,
no,
you definitely heard visions.
Yeah. So I didn't listen to it in full, so I couldn't talk about the whole album. I don't frequently find myself listening to fast rap albums kind of nowadays anyways. I'm more likely to listen to a song, for example. I mean, Visions was really good. I thought Visions was pretty good. But
I assume that's all you heard, right?
Yeah, that's
Only
really as far as it
Visions.
goes for me. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wait, well, look, I've heard something else from it too, though, because I remember what the album art looks like. And I usually don't.
Generated.
Yeah, and I usually don't.
AI fucking generated. I'm sick of this AI generated shit. Everybody's doing it.
I've done AI generated art.
Yeah, everyone. It's wank shit. You need to get like commission people. You probably have enough money to get like a $5 art piece at least. I saw Afro did it. You know, the AFRO. Like I don't know,
Afro.
man.
Yeah, Afro.
Grab the mic, the right pitch.
I don't
Grab
like
the
this
mic, the right
AI
pitch.
stuff that's been happening lately. I think you just need to commission people and stop putting, you know, reliance on. That's completely separate, anyways. Were you gonna say anything?
I somewhat agree with you there. No, I wasn't gonna say anything about the M.I.S.T
Okay.
necessarily. My bad.
There's nothing
Well,
there.
We do have
Nothing.
a lot of okay then. You wrote 10 questions.
Oh
We'll
man.
probably have to quick fire them. All right, if you were to go for a day, what would be the first thing you do?
Buy tampons. Next question.
Do you fuck with Ohio irony posting?
Yes, yes, I do. What
No
like
fucking way.
only in Ohio. This is how you pump squat in Ohio, and it's a guy like
Yeah.
floating in there. Like, yeah, I do.
Ohio Riz.
Ohio skibbity whiz.
Skibbity Riz and Phantom Tax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
YouTube short split says skibbity riz.
Oh no.
There you
No,
go.
it's gonna get clipped.
Don't push me. I'll put it in a song. I don't care.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, I'm scared.
Okay,
No,
look,
the thing is,
I mean,
though,
look.
skibbity
The
is such
Among
an
Us.
easy
Not
word to
there.
say fast. That should be. It's a chopper word right there.
There you
Oh
go.
my fucking god, Murrk, you said like a few days ago you're gonna incorporate skibbity into a burst of yours. I'm gonna fucking just flip out on you, you
Oh,
fucking wanker.
make sure you
All
remember.
right.
I'm gonna go to skibbity.
Next question is do you know you exist?
I think about it sometimes. But yeah, I am pretty certain I exist.
Okay. What is your worst bar or bars that you ever wrote and released? Interesting. Are you gonna put yourself down?
All right,
That's a good question.
All right, here we go. So, worst, which I was talking about in general,
I guess, yeah.
All
Yeah.
time.
On
You've
the
been
things that you wrote
writing-
and released.
bars as in verse of song, or bars as in
Just-
like, oh, this
You
one
put your
bar right
voice
here.
over
Yeah,
instrumental.
the one bar.
Yeah.
Oh, so many come to mind. I see it.
Oh man, bro, somebody come to mind. Holy cow!
As an artist, you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses too.
You
way
know
too
what?
well.
You know what? Nah, you know what? You know what I'm gonna say? It's in Godspeed, actually.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
Yeah.
Make you Mercury replay button as a shove a Mars bar up your anus. Take one of the rings off of Saturn and spin it.
Oh shit. I think I've heard people
yeah.
talking about that.
That's definitely been mentioned before.
By itself, that bar is absolutely garbage, and I hate that I said it. Aside from how it ties into the next line, because that's like that whole like solar system setup, and then my speed gives me the ability to travel the world in a matter of minutes, and
Okay.
so that kind of ties it all up. But by itself, it's big cringe. But here's the thing: I've noticed that doing that is one of my strong suits. Even that, like, kicking 5 guys in the lower leg is how I'm going to break the tension. That line is so stupid.
I like lines like that though. I think they're fun.
I think they're fun too. I love them.
Right.
Especially how it sets up everything after that.
Mm.
You know, for in line with the song. But if you took it by itself, oh yeah, oh yeah, there's so many that come to mind.
Probably loads of stuff.
The whole, you know, that Dark Side verse that I did with K-Fix and DNA.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Was it
real.
Bethel?
First of all, that song is not even all that nice.
Oh.
Well, not song, but the verse of mine, right, is not even all that nice. Number one. Number
Is that the
two.
one with like a lot of auto tune on it, or like noticeable?
Huh?
Is that the one with like auto tune on it, or like noticeable auto tune,
I don't think
It's
so.
not even auto
I don't
tune.
think
It's
so.
just
or like
it's-
whatever? I can't.
It's one with DNA, you know.
It's like some layered effect thing.
Yeah.
I'm a
What was some
super.
shit?
I'm a super computer, but processing all of the reasons that you
Reasons
suck
you
is
suck.
too much. When I tally the damages I do to the medulla oblongata, they probably forgotta. I'll tell them who was the ruler.
Yeah.
So aside from, I think the flow play was really cool, but the word that setup is so stupid. It's so bad. And in comparison to how cool I felt when I wrote it, it's awful. It's awful. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. But that was bad, and I should feel bad.
Mhm.
The next question, I should might as well
Next
go to it. What are you gonna be for Halloween?
Last Halloween, I was at work, so we were doing like a department costume. It's like a costume contest thing.
Okay.
And so my department, we were Carol Baskin and her cats.
Ooh.
And so I was the panther. I was the panther. And so we had like cat masks and like cat hoodies, and like we were wearing stuff. And the joke was we were walking around with a missing poster of the Tiger King. And so the joke was the person who was Carol Baskin, right, was asking, "Have you seen my husband?" And we were the cats just standing there like holding up the missing poster. It's actually a really stupid thing, and that's probably why we lost, but that's not the point. So that's what I was last Halloween. Next Halloween, I will be exactly what I have been doing for the past 6 years. Blade or Morpheus.
Next up, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? I assume it means flavor.
All right. So since I live in South Florida, right? I'm around a lot of Latin Americans and Caribbeans. And there's this really nice ice cream spot nearby called Cleveland's. There is a jerk seasoning ice cream.
Hey,
And
what?
I never thought that this would be a thing, but it is the most amazing thing I've ever tasted in my life.
That's crazy. That sounds hard to believe, but
And it is. It really is. Because when I first saw it, it's like, what do you mean jerk ice cream? How do you do that?
Who jerked the ice cream?
No, jerk seasoning. It's a Caribbean seasoning that goes on things like jerk chicken, for example.
yeah.
Right.
And the weird thing about it is that it's normally a savory dish. You look like
that's what's
love
weird.
savory
Yeah.
dish. But when you put it into like vanilla bean ice cream, it's kind of crazy. And so I think that might be my favorite. If I had to pick one that's a little more conventional, I am a very big fan of guava. If it's done right, pineapple ice cream is crazy.
What? I never had that. I didn't know that existed.
Me neither. But if it's done right, it's crazy.
You've named ice cream flavors I didn't know existed, like all of them.
Yeah, I haven't had any of those.
Next up, do you have any plans that will interrupt Halloween 2024? I assume that's a lead up to the previous.
At this time, no. At this time, no, I do not. At this time, no,
Halloween
I do
cipher.
not.
Next up, what's your favorite cartoon?
Oh, that's
Damn. What kind of question is that?
There's
Okay.
a lot of them.
Family
He
Guy.
wrote a lot.
The
Top
Mighty
three.
Ducks.
What?
The Mighty Ducks. I'll go the Mighty Ducks, Rocket Power, and said cartoons. So we're not talking anime.
I mean, technically, it's a cartoon, right?
Technically, I don't know. It's got a different style, you know.
Nah.
We're already this deep in. We'll
What's
just
the
say no.
definition of cartoon? Yeah.
I will say Castlevania, the Netflix animated series. That goes so dummy, crazy, stupid hard.
Yeah, and more.
Honorable mention goes to the Powerpuff Girls.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Because that's not for girls. It's
For
us.
boys.
It's for boys.
Men.
Okay. What are your top 5 words?
All
Top
right.
5 words.
Helicopter.
Number
So
number
dumb.
1. I'm gonna get it out the way, right? Number 1, percolator.
Ooh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Number
that's
1 is
fine.
percolator. Number 1 is percolator. I love saying that word, and I don't get to say it often. That is probably my favorite word to actually say out of my mouth. Number 2, astigmatism.
Astigmatism,
Astigmatism, a killer of venom.
Astigmatism. Number 3, and I'm assuming this is all in English, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not actually.
I guess it doesn't have to be.
Is the question in English?
Yes.
It just says that, what are your top 5 words? I guess it could be in any language at all.
I guess 4 would be daif, which is Arabic for fraudulent, or untrustworthy. It's used specifically. It's used specifically in the context of in the Islamic language. They keep a record of everything that the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said to any of his companions, and so they have like a ranking system on how probable they are that he actually said it, according to the like records that they keep of who said that he said it, right? So it's authenticity. Daif is technically the lowest level because it's something that he straight up did not say. And so it means fraudulent, but in like a grander sense of this is, you could just tell someone, oh, this is cap. That never happened, right? But like within my community, if someone went as far as to call something daif, like it's so untrue. It means fabricated. Is what it means.
Shit.
It means fabricated. Like this is a lie. This is cap, right? So, so that would be 4. 5. Damn,
I'm pretty sure we
5?
skipped 3. I'm not gonna lie, we didn't.
I said percolator, astigmatism. Daif is 4. Oh, you're right. We did skip 3.
Okay.
3.
Hemoglobin.
3 is gonna be Aki, which just means bro, and 5 is gonna be, I don't know if I can say this word within this podcast, but it's gonna be the soft N word. I'm gonna have to put the soft N word at number 5.
It's fine.
You're allowed to say it.
I have to put the soft N word at number 5.
Discussion last time.
It works more often than not.
Yeah. I just want to touch on something, by the way, that we never even talked about during all this UC talk, is that you never use bad language in your verses or any of your songs or anything. You kept that going for a very long time until maybe like 2015 or something. I think you said it was because of like religious reasons or something, like your parents wouldn't be happy about that language or something.
So growing up in the religion that I did, also with the fact that I'm African American, in general, we know it's not becoming of someone to just be cursing willy-nilly. And so because of that, number 1, I don't curse in front of my parents. I never have, and I probably never will. It would require a very, very extreme like loss of control of my emotions to actually curse,
anger.
to actually let fly in front of my parents. Right?
I'm gonna get a drink.
No problem. Someone would have to assault them, and then in me rectifying that situation, that's the only way it's going to happen. Right? So that's number 1. Number 2, realistically, my parents are my biggest fans, especially when it comes to music. I've been, fortunate and blessed enough to grow up with both of my parents in my life, number 1. Number 2, both my parents together. Number 3, my parents being very supportive of almost everything that I've done.
Yeah,
and the only reason I say almost, actually no, everything. Realistically, I've gone through so many different like hair phases and stuff. Like I could literally walk up to my dad, hypothetically, right? I could walk up to my dad, like with something crazy changed about me, and he'd just be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll just be like, "This, whatever this is," and he'll be like,
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason is because ultimately I'm kind of a boring person. My dad has actually said to me, because I went to visit him in Troy, New York a bit ago, and he said, I have a question. I said, "Wow, what's up?" Mind you, he's raised me. I'm about to turn 30, right? So we're just talking, and he goes, Why didn't you ever do anything?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You never did anything." I'm like, what do you mean? I've done so many things. He's like, you never did anything. You didn't smoke. You didn't drink. You didn't get tattoos. You didn't go to clubs. You didn't really get into anything with like women or whatever. You never did anything. I'm like, I thought that was the point.
I don't think boring is the right word.
Yeah, that doesn't make you boring. It's just different.
You lived a good life.
What people do. Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
I think I'm in the right part of the conversation.
Right, and that's fair. And so, but I told him, I was like, also, I never really had a desire to do any of that anyways. I mean, I had friends who like drink and smoke and like all of that, but from the outside looking in, I never wanted to do that, so I didn't. He's like, all right, well, I mean, that's fine, but like, you know, a little bit of excitement or something, rob a bank, do something. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. Why would I rob a bank?
He rapped really, really fast. That's cool.
Right. Right. And so he was saying that in the essence of like, oh, you know, raising you was very kind of it was kind of sort of carefree, you know. You know, you're never in anything crazy, no gambling addiction, no drug, like no nothing. And I was just like, that sounds like a lot of work, to be honest with you. And so
it's not worth the trouble, really.
Right. And so because of all of, like with all of that, I had a really grand respect for my parents, and so I still do. And so because I know they listen to my music, I said, okay, I'm not going to necessarily just be out here cursing and all of that. Not to mention, I started to become cognitive of the fact that there were younger people who listen to my music, and I don't want to say anything so absolutely like debased, right? That you know, it makes somebody think, oh, okay, it's fine. He's saying this stuff. Maybe this is regular, blah blah blah. And so, so that's the idea there.
Okay. And so, whenever you did swear in your music, you had like, would you say you had a very good reason to? Like in your song, I think it was American. Is it called American? And you started it off with like a quadruple N word. And the song Racist, obviously.
That one.
I remember both that shit.
A quadruple N word.
Soldier Boy.
No. So I'd say I had a pretty good reason most of the time. The only time I could say I didn't have a good reason was in Death Machine, but that was just for the sake of the line.
I guess it kind of fits more with the energy when you're with the newer type of music that you're making as well, right?
Yeah, the aggressive thing. Like, I mean, is it like commonplace for you to drop, you know, swear words and you know, F bombs and is it F bombs? No,
Still have not dropped an F bomb. That's going to be a pretty interesting wall to get
really
over. Yeah, it's going to be a real interesting wall to get over.
Man, I'm thinking like I'm gonna find one, but yeah, I know you haven't.
Nope, have not.
Wow.
You just got that energy, like that's what I expect from rappers all the time. So then someone doesn't do it, and you don't usually notice.
Yeah.
I don't think I noticed that you didn't swear till somebody pointed it out to me.
Yeah, until NahDah pointed it out a minute ago, I wasn't even ever thinking about if you swear or not in your music.
You know, in general, I kind of don't.
It's impressive. Like swears are usually quite filler words at the end of the day. So I'm more impressed about that. Anyways, that's probably move on to the last question that AOKden had after all this. He says, would you rather be 125 years old or 20 years old? Which is what? Just
125.
20?
Yeah, why not? Why would you?
Sounds about right.
Why would you be a fucking 125?
Why would you be dead?
I don't remember. Yeah, that was all the fun questions.
All right, what else?
I mean, Murrk, bro, do you have any questions? You've been a fan of Split for like 100 years.
Not off the top of. I mean, we've talked about a lot of the stuff. I think.
Yeah, we've been on like just.
I mean, I could probably think of
some questions.
Off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, DOWN6. Meanwhile, I'll get something to say.
I got my DOWN6 questions that are very DOWN6 questions.
It's just DOWN6 questions.
Yeah, no, not 6 questions. Hold on, I gotta close my pizza and focus. The fucking. You remember Passion?
Yes.
Remember that song with Blindsight?
I do remember that song.
That verse, you never realized it, but that was like. This is more than like a statement, but I just want to like make you think about it. Like that verse made me realize that when you have raw vocals, they're supposed to like actually sound good. You know what I mean? And like line up. because like your vocals raw sound good, and then you mix them and they sound even better. But if they don't sound good raw in the first place, then how do I word
Okay,
like,
okay. I think I see what you're saying.
you know what I mean? Because I saw how everything was just like perfectly lined up. You probably chopped your shit before you sent it or didn't. I don't know what you did, but it was just made me realize like I could be doing so much more different and like be way more professional with this and way less messy with this. Like this is so organized compared to the rest of the file. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Working with Silent Side taught me a lot about how the mixing and mastering process goes. And it's kind of different when you're doing it yourself, but when you um, understand that it has to be handled by somebody else, you
Right.
kind of try to like make things as easy as possible. So
Right.
I started like labeling my takes and like each layer individually, and you know, like yeah, I do some cleaning, like I do clean it up a little bit,
Yeah.
like to cut out any artifacts or anything like that. Um, you know, my setup is pretty simple, so you know, and like it's actually very simple. So you know, I'm glad that you pointed that out, because if anybody's kind of listening to it, like try to figure out ways to make the process easier for those that are also working on your music. If I wasn't good friends with Silent Side, my music would not be anywhere near as good as it is. Madlander wouldn't
Right.
exist. You know, the songs might have come out, but they might have sounded way different. They wouldn't have sounded
Right.
as good. The beat might not have been as unique, et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know, ultimately, this is like my homie. It's not like I'm out here paying him necessarily.
Right.
Um, and so we're just kind of making music together. And so I would just go out of my way to make things easier. And I think that's kind of just the attitude most people should have in general, if they plan on working with other people. If it's just you, okay, that's different. You know what I'm saying? You have your stuff in the folders.
A lot of
And,
room to experiment.
you know, you got room to experiment, room to figure it out. But that's why. That's why it was like that.
When I
That's
first like was hitting you up for that verse, that's when I like first like I guess that you could say I found a pocket as like Infrost, but like because I learned how to be on beat eventually, but like that's when I was like first like finding that DOWN6 pocket, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it just that whole fucking album, it just I'm getting too deep in thought. The album like means a lot mentally to me, but it's like a huge piece of shit. Like the quality
Place of
changes
Intimate?
through it. Yeah, like it goes through it, like it because I have like an overload amount of features because I wanted it to get viewed, you know.
Mhm.
But the promotion wasn't right. I'm going off, but my main question, I guess I don't have any. I guess I just want to be like, thank you for fucking chopping and shit. Because if it wasn't for underground choppers and fucking you existing, I would not be in this chair. I'd be in this chair doing some other shit, probably cubing.
Oh, by the way,
Well, yeah,
actually,
yeah, no problem.
DOWN6. I got a comment on the podcast choppers thing. It's like somebody was asking about your cubing stuff. They saw you were a cuber and shit. Like, is there some quick summarization of your cubing stuff?
Secret
That you can go over
cubing
quick?
Look,
network.
so the whole cubing shit is I did that all before rap and shit. Well, I was like, because I found rapping and like Rap God, the whole Rap God fucking to underground choppers to that pipeline is the word I'm trying to use.
Mhm.
That pipeline
Yeah, the
before I
Rap
reached
God
that pipeline. 5 years before that pipeline, I had like learned how to solve Rubik's cubes in like my own time during some real tough times in my life where I was alone a lot. So eventually, I picked up like the two. I don't have it near me, but I picked up the 2x2 Rubik's cube, and I got used to that. And then I've just always been obsessed with speed solving. And then I actually kind of quit for a couple years once I got really into being DOWN6. And then Terry was like, quit music. Our buddy Terry from the UL days that me and NahDah and Murrk know.
Cool.
But they are so fucking fast. They're faster than I ever could comprehend at cubing. And they just kind of inspired me to like, okay, I don't need to like be in this like music show. I can just like step back and just cube. You know? So I've been cubing for at least like 11 years. And I have a World Cube Association profile. You can just type my name. My name's public. It's Nicky Steingraver. You just find it, and you see all my results. I even have a different channel where I upload all my cubing shit. So
nice.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing on Instagram you were cubing. I was like, huh.
I uploaded in 8. I got at the I used Terry's cube too. Terry, because I didn't my cube. I was nervous. I was like, oh, my cube doesn't turn right, and Terry was just like, just use my cube.
It is. I do find that very
Nostalgic.
impressive. Very, very impressive. So, I don't think it's
I
something
saw that comment, by the way, NahDah.
Yeah, you didn't even reply. Why don't you reply to your fans, man?
I meant to reply. I just never got back to it. I think honestly, if you put in, it takes way more time to become a good rapper than it does to become a good cuber. Because I've known people that I know people that like rap for a short time. It's different for everyone. It varies. But I've known commonly a lot of people with a cube for like 1 year and they're sub 10. That's like you're fast, that's the mark. I average like 11. I'm just barely there.
Also, just like, if you want to utilize views, you can just make a short and make multiple shorts actually of rapping fast while solving Rubik's cubes and shit like that. You will get so many views, man. You're nearing 1,000 subscribers at this point.
They're running in on psychology. They can never manage. We do damage with no apology. Pick them on the planet, a little minute, because I gotta be friendly. I'm a genic, because I'm an oddity. All right, that's the real.
Bruh, that's crazy.
Yo, he just did it. Yo, he just did it.
Y'all remember, weird random question, y'all remember the old Rap God 125 like cover videos that people used to do?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody did them.
Besides No Clue. No Clue was like the most notable one, like Guinness Attempt or whatever. I don't know.
I used to watch all of those, and like the Worldwide Choppers covers as well.
And you used to be like, I could do this better.
There's old videos of me being 9 years old, holding my camera this close from my face and trying to lip sync Rap God.
Nice.
I just want to touch into this because remember that prick in the comments, Murrk, who was like, you were here for the SPS community for very long. You're not even a part of this shit. No, man. You've been around for so fucking long and these people don't know.
Murrk just wasn't a name that was like said out loud a lot.
Hey, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my heart's coming out my chest.
Yeah, man. Fucking stand up. We've been here for like so long.
I randomly got nervous.
I was going to ask, what is your favorite track you've made under the split name?
The one with the X?
Steel Chair.
Yeah, with the X. Okay.
And the reason it's Steel Chair, the reason it's Steel Chair is because Steel Chair is how I was able to remind myself that kind of no matter where my musical direction went, I was always going to be Jabril. Just as Tech 9 is always going to be Aaron, ultimately, I was always going to be me. And that is literally a song that is a really long wrestling joke, like a really long wrestling scheme. It's really all it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just littered with them, right? And to kind of never lose sight of like what that means to me, I actually am trying to get. I'm probably never gonna actually wear it, but I'm trying to get a Steel Chair pendant chain.
Okay.
Just because it's funny. And that's gonna be like the associated like item that as an artist Split is. Anytime like my friends kind of like draw me, they have me with a steel chair in hand. In the cover art for 5 seconds,
you got that.
I think there is actually a steel chair in the back. Or if I'm not just straight up holding it.
I don't know. I'm trying to look at it on this screen. It's way too small to see it on that screen.
Click the track.
I'm not just straight up holding it. I think.
There is. Yeah, there is a steel chair. Yeah,
there's like a steel chair in there, and so that's like the thing. I'm a big wrestling fan, massive wrestling fan, and I kind of always have been. So it's cool.
Favorite wrestler?
I'd have to make the very hard choice between Rey Mysterio and Ricochet, and I don't want to make that decision.
That's fine. You can name 2 people.
I don't want to make that decision. I was a big fan of Attitude Era. We're talking Evolution. Whenever Triple H would spit into the air, I thought that was the sickest thing ever. Shelton Benjamin was cool. I think someone who really doesn't get a lot of praise where they should is going to be Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler is probably the best seller I have ever seen in my life, because there's a lot of different aspects to wrestling. There's giving a move, sure, but then there's taking a move. nobody takes a move better than Dolph Ziggler. Not gonna lie to you. And that's like a really often forgotten part of wrestling. You gotta look good doing stuff, but you also gotta look good having stuff done to you. And people like Dolph Ziggler, dare I say it, Logan Paul is actually also very good at selling.
Logan Paul.
You know, I had no
Logan Paul.
Oh, he actually has a can of corn. I had no desire. Excuse me. I had no desire to see Logan Paul anywhere in a WWE arena, but he at least
kills it.
okay getting flipped by a running clothesline. So
body slamming KSI while he's wearing a Prime bottle costume.
My favorite brother.
Good wrestler, but it's a shame that he got where he is through the fucking scams and shit. But what can you do?
YouTube is so long, bro. It's so long.
Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul.
I honestly hope Mike Tyson knocks him out, but I feel like either way he gets a bag, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I hope he stands there for 60 seconds, doesn't move, and lets him and his brother wail on him, and then he just, I'm ready for it. Mike is. He said, "I'm not smoking before that fight. I'm gonna be real cranky."
Jumps in and starts just eating Jake Paul.
When Mike says, "I'm scared," Mike is scared for you, man.
Yeah, he's not scared for him. Call the ambulance, but not for me.
He hasn't said that in a while. Remember, he used to say that in like '90s. He would be like, "I'm scared for him. I cry for him before the fight." He's saying that about Jake Paul.
Oh my god, dude! It's such a good business decision, though. It's really good.
They're getting bags.
Oh, sure. We're on like the 3-hour mark by now.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot discussed. I wonder who like watches these. If you're watching this, leave us leave like a put a 1 in the comments because I don't know who.
If you're watching this, type bananas.
Sure.
Type anus.
What else?
What is it? That was the ACDC anus : Dookie chamber Tech 9 bar. There you go.
Okay.
Type that.
Yo. Okay. I asked you about this a long time ago. Not long, but you know, at some point I asked this. You have a music video out with an Iranian female artist, and it's kind of absurd how it happened. Yeah, it's kind of because it was overall strange. It seems like so random because you don't even speak the language of the I think it's Persian or Farsi or something like that.
Or Farsi or something.
And you were in different countries. You are. I mean, she's in like Taiwan in the music video or something. It's kind of. How did you get hooked up for that? You know, song and music video.
Man, it was so crazy. I was walking out of a McDonald's while I was in college. Right, I was walking out of McDonald's. And I randomly was checking my email. You know when you get really annoyed of the little blip that has some massive number on top of your email icon because you don't check your emails? And so I was just going through them, and then I, for some reason, saw that one. And I read it out, and I'm like, okay. Like, it was literally, it was her, it was like her manager. It was this other lady. And she was telling me about, okay, you know, there's this rapper, here's some of their music, and we want to make a song. We think you'd be perfect for it, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay.
And how like early was this in your career?
It's definitely after Underground Choppers 2.
Okay.
That's where this would have fallen in the timeline. So post Godspeed, post Underground Choppers 2. That's like when that happened.
Get a spike of people hitting you up or something like that?
No. Well, like that, no.
Oh.
But in
just like
general,
a little bit.
But just in general, sure. Like, you know, one-off Underground Choppers person might hit me up. I think Jay Crazy might have hit me up.
Yeah, D-Spills. I saw some collabs with him.
Yeah, I was collaborating with the Chopper Click at the time as well. You know, DNA.
Did you ever do anything with Bones?
Stuff like that. Yeah, there was a song called "No More Room in Hell."
Yeah, it's technically with him.
Right, it's technically with him. I never did anything with him, right? But
yeah, it's a shame. He probably would as well. He does like free features and shit.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. I guess why it never happened. We never really connected like that. We never really did. Aside from, I guess, the time when I was kind of just like super communicative with Chopper Click, MC Damage, et cetera, et cetera. And so back to what's her name? Shalom MC. That was her name.
Yes.
So her manager had hit me up, and then she flies out. Not Shalom, right? I've never seen her, but her manager flies out, and she was also like her videographer or something, and they were gonna get the video shot. So we went to a spot in DC, and we went around the city, kind of shooting the video, and that's where we get the video from. But yeah, that's literally how that happened. I never had a conversation with Shalom. I never had any direct communication with her. It was just her manager. She flew out, shot the video. I had sent them the vocals prior, and that was it.
It goes to show anybody can hit you up, like at any point in time, for anything.
Just like that. Not even just to show it, just I found it intriguing. I was like, who's this person? Why are they Turkish? What is happening? Why do they know who I am? Like,
Iranian.
Why are they
Iranian? My bad. Or Iranian? My bad. And so that was it. That was it. That's as far as that went.
It's still one of the stranger collabs. Like, maybe you have like a story of like another collab that you weren't expecting that happened.
Nah, everything else was kind of regular. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, the dubstep one. What was it? It was like all I remember is the non-copyright sound yellow symbol. That's all I remember. What was it? It was on Spotify.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. I'll try and
with
find
an X. Maybe split with an X. So there is another person with that artist name. They don't make music anymore, but they did, and their music is still up on iTunes. So
Well, I actually have found that, but it's not that. I know why it's not that though, because I heard the song. I heard the song, and I remember hearing your vocals. Idol was in DC. I wish Idol was here. He would know. It was. What did you say?
You said it was dubstep. It had dubstep.
It was dubstep. It was kind of dubstep.
It's not that.
What's
is it?
that?
I don't think it's that.
What's
I don't
that?
think
Your
it's
mic is
probably
muted,
not that.
Murrk.
Oh,
yeah, Murrk, you're muted. What's
I
that?
don't think it's that.
Doesn't look like it.
Nah, that was my.
No,
entry
Split was
to
the only feature.
Hmm.
What was the entry?
No, what he was showing was "Blow You Away." That was the my entry to the Anno Domini rap contest, which which I won, and that's how I got these headphones, this microphone, and this audio interface.
I'm just wondering, by the way, on the topic of Spotify, I'm pretty sure you either took down or your music was taken down from Spotify. Like your earlier music, I think, like
all the way.
Project Kuma
It's not there
and
anymore.
stuff. Like, was that your doing?
So I think so. Only reason that would have been on iTunes was so I wasn't necessarily controlling my music at the time, at least not with regards to getting it to aggregates. I had a manager at a certain point, and they probably set that up. So if it's not there, that's because it's no longer set up. All of that music is still available on my SoundCloud, and I keep it there in a playlist called Split Second, and then in brackets old music. And so that it's always there, right?
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of that should have ever really been on iTunes in the first place because I did not hold the proper licensing to put those instrumentals onto iTunes. So if they were there, it kind of shouldn't have been there. But nowadays, I either A, will purchase a proper license, or B, it was made by Silent Side and he lets me have it. So that's why. That's why.
I'm glad there's like some integrity with when it comes to like not stealing YouTube beats. There's like certain people in the community that aren't really bothered about that. Like DNA has 30 albums straight of just YouTube beats and shit. Kind of unlucky.
Literally stole underground choppers and put.
Yeah, he did. He just like cut up UC2 and chucked it in Book of the Wreck.
He cut it up to be short.
But do these things go onto like aggregate stores that are going on to Spotify, iTunes?
Yeah, Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify, iTunes,
it's
everything.
on Spotify.
It's kind of super like illegal, but DNA said himself, "Who the fuck's gonna sue DNA to lyricists?" And it's like at that point,
He don't give a fuck. Like he just don't.
He has a point.
They're probably not going to sue him, are they?
He has a point.
I don't know. I mean, Tech Nine's one of my favorite rappers, but I still think that Tech Nine puts a lot. I don't think he has that great of a quality control filter on his music.
Maybe.
Like, there's plenty of stuff. Like, I mean, I like it, but there's plenty of stuff you could call filler on his stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like when he described eating through a person on an album. Fucking Tech Nine,
Talking
dude.
about it was an accident.
He like couldn't help it or some shit, so he just ate right through the bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an accident.
Bro,
Holy
the amount of outrageous sex bars that Tech Nine has is actually crazy.
It's actually really funny. It's actually, I think it's
Yeah,
actually
there's
really
so many of them. It's
I think it's really
insane.
funny.
A lot of people be corny with the sex bars. I'm the king of corny sex bars, and Tech Nine always does it like the
Oh,
best
yeah,
way
bro.
possible. In times, and if it's like if he's corny, he'll make you laugh with it. Like if he knows.
Talking about going cuckoo in the kitty, shooting the jizzy. Something like that.
That's crazy, dude.
Something like that. Yeah, that's true.
That's the rhyme scheme.
Yeah.
It
Alright,
rhymes though.
I think we're getting to the point. We might as well like cut it off soon.
Yeah.
But like one way to end it off is like, you know, what are your next upcoming things? You know, what's going to be coming on with you, Split?
So I'm gonna be releasing a lot more split music going forward. Once I finish releasing the Madlander album. I have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. It's a little overwhelming at times, but it is what it is. That's kind of just how it goes. I want to be a lot more kind of involved with the SPS community only because I think it's really cool that a lot of people have seen what I've done and they're trying to take it to the next level. They're trying to like put their own spin on it. And I think that's really cool. And I want to be able to foster that kind of thing. Now, this is not necessarily an invitation to send me all of your chopper songs that you've recorded on voice note, but
Voice note.
Yeah, make something good before you send it to Split.
right, like just make it a song. Let it be. It doesn't have to be mixed the best, but at least mix it right. And number two, don't just send me speed tests, please. Just
You just open your DM.
You gotta think. Just consider for a moment that perhaps over the past 11 or 12 years of me doing the underground chopper thing, maybe I've had enough. You know what I'm saying? Just maybe I've had enough. But if it's like it depends, obviously. But just think about that for a second before you press set.
Facts.
All right, man. I'll see everybody. I hope you like this episode with Split. Shout out to you if you managed to make it this far. We're 3 hours in. You know, maybe I don't know what we're gonna do next time. But maybe there'll be something cool like
Kendrick
this.
Lamar. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we'll try our best.
Yeah, we're getting Kendrick Lamar next episode.
You normally have outro ideas. So what's your plan here?
I think we should all do the funny split-second growl raw thing all at the same time.
Holy shit, that's the worst. But we gotta do it. We gotta do it.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I can't beat that.
I'm with it.
All right.
I'm with it.
Hold on, let me
So
get
like
my.
one by one, or
Nah, all at once, I think.
It's
all
like
at
the
once,
clap,
yeah.
all right? But we're
Yeah.
rah.
Just
I don't know how to do it. I'm about to butcher it.
You do the countdown, okay?
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. All right. See you later, lads.
Sick.
Skibbity Riz, boys.